Good afternoon. My name is Priscilla Rojas, and I am the Chair of the BPDA Board. Thank you for joining the July 17th, 2026 Economic Development and Industrial Corporation of Boston Board meeting. At this time, the Boston Planning and Development Agency is hosting public meetings in a hybrid setting for the health, safety, and accessibility of Boston residents. Hybrid means that our board meetings are conducted in person at City Hall in our boardroom on the 9th floor and virtually via Zoom and Boston City TV. For more information and updates, visit bostonplans.org. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that I notify the public that this meeting is being recorded. Please be aware that an audio and visual recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast by Boston City TV, which is a part of the City of Boston Office of Cable Communications at Xfinity Channel 26, RCN Channel 13, and Verizon Fios Channel 962. It's also being live streamed at boston.gov/cable. Now, if there's anyone in the audience who's recording this meeting, I ask that you please identify yourself now. Okay, seeing none, I will now start the meeting with the roll call. Ms. Bennett.
Here.
Mr. O'Malley.
Here.
And the chair is present. Item number 1, request authorization for the approval of the minutes of the June 18, 2026 board meeting. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2, request authorization to issue a request for qualifications for a licensed design consultant to provide design services resulting in construction documents to replace the fire pump and controller at 12 Channel Street within the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. We are requesting authorization to advertise and issue a request for qualifications pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 7C, to procure a qualified engineering consultant to provide design services for the replacement of the fire pump and controller at 12 Channel Street in the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. This is the first time this matter has been brought before you. 12 Channel Street is a 9-story masonry building originally constructed in 1941 and currently serves a diverse mix of tenants, including office users, technology companies, nonprofit organizations, and restaurant space. This project addresses critical life safety and infrastructure within the building. A recent hydraulic analysis determined that the existing fire pump is undersized for the building's fire protection system. Additionally, both the fire pump and the controller have exceeded their useful life and are experiencing significant corrosion and no longer meet current building and fire code requirements. Staff will select a qualified engineering consultant to develop design documents for the replacement of the fire pump and controller. The scope will include design, development, preparation of the construction documents, public bidding assistance, and construction administration services. Funding for this design effort is included in the BPDA FY27 capital budget and is not anticipated to exceed $150,000. We anticipate returning to the board later this year with a recommendation to award a design contract. Therefore, we are requesting that the clerk be authorized to advertise and issue a request for qualifications to provide design services for the replacement of the fire pump and controller at 12 Channel Street. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this moment.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks. Or Tyler, stay there. Request authorization, item number 3, request authorization to execute a contract with HDR Engineering Incorporated for assessment and engineering of the 72-inch drain on Fid Kennedy Avenue and service lines for parcel W within the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park in the amount of $291,751 and a 15% contingency for a total contract amount not to exceed $335,513. Tyler.
Thank you again. We are requesting authorization to award and execute a design contract with HDR Engineering for the assessment and engineering of the 72-inch drain on Fid Kennedy Avenue and associated service lines serving parcel W within the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. The Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park encompasses more than 190 acres in the seaport and serves a diverse mix of industrial, research, technology, and manufacturing and maritime tenants. Much of the Marine Park's infrastructure, including its storm drain systems, was originally constructed by the United States military in the 1930s. The system is now approximately 90 years old and has not undergone any major upgrades or improvements since its original construction. During significant weather events, the storm water system becomes overwhelmed, resulting in flooding that can take several days to recede. As development and activity within the Marine Park have increased, the need to better understand and improve the critical infrastructure has become extremely important. The request for a proposal was issued on April 6, 2026, and a virtual pre-submission conference was held on April 15, 2026. 3 firms submitted proposals. Proposals were evaluated based on qualifications, experience, project understanding, and fee proposals in accordance with the selection criteria established in the RFP. Following a comprehensive review, staff determined that HR Engineering submitted the most advantageous proposal based on its highly qualified, multidisciplinary team, strong understanding of the project, and overall value to the agency. The proposed contract amount is $291,751. Staff is also recommending a 15% contingency of $43,762 for a total authorization amount of $335,513. Funding for this work is included in the agency's FY26 capital construction budget. Therefore, staff recommends that the director be authorized to award and execute a contract with HR Engineering for the assessment and engineering of the 72-inch drain on Fid Kennedy Avenue and service lines for parcel W. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Okay, questions and comments from the board? I do have one. So we typically in the memo have the amounts, but I see that we said that this was the most advantageous from a dollar perspective. What did the variances look like?
Trying to remember, I think the other one was like $200,000 more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 4, request authorization to issue an invitation for bids for the construction of the streetscape improvement project located within the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park. Sandra.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, we are requesting authorization for the clerk to advertise and issue an invitation for bids pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30, Section 39M, for the construction of the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park Streetscapes Improvement Project. This is the first time this matter has been before you. The Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park is a critical economic engine in the city of Boston, supporting a diverse and mix of industrial, manufacturing, marine, research, and technology tenants. As the marine park continues to evolve, improvements to the aging infrastructure are necessary to enhance safety, accessibility, and operations through the park. This project will address a series of immediate improvements at multiple locations within the marine park, including Terminal Street, Dry Dock Avenue, Dolphin Way, and Black Falcon Avenue. The work will include sidewalk reconstruction and widening, roadway reconfiguration, asphalt milling and paving, concrete sidewalk installation, tree protection and landscaping improvements, adjustment to drainage structures and utility castings, pavement stripping, crosswalk improvements, and removal and resetting of signage and lighting. The improvements at Dolphin Way will improve truck circulation and turnaround movements, while Dry Dock Avenue and Terminal Street improvements will enhance pedestrian accessibility and safety. The Black Falcon Avenue work will address deteriorated sidewalk conditions and streetscape elements. The invitation for bids will be publicly advertised and procured in accordance with Massachusetts Public Bid Law under Mass General Law, Chapter 30, Section 39M, and all applicable city ordinances. The resulting contract will be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder and will be brought back before the board for approval. Funding for this project was previously budgeted jointly with the design phase in the amount of approximately $5.6 million, and it was within the BPDA fiscal year 25 capital construction budget. Following prior authorization of the Phase 1 design contract, approximately $5 million remains available for continued design and construction for these improvements. Therefore, we request that the clerk be authorized to advertise and issue an invitation for bids for the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park Streetscape Improvement Project. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Item number 5, request authorization to issue a request for proposals for a contractor to provide program training for PowerCore Boston, which provides the skills, credentials, and hands-on experience for participants to enter and be successful in careers in HVACR and other building operations. Devo.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Dave O. Jefferson. I'm an executive director of PowerCore Boston. We're a workforce training program that provides young adults 18 to 30 with the skills, credentials, and employment opportunities in green industry, in the green job industry. The Office of Workforce Development requests the board's approval to issue a request for proposals for HVACR training services to support PowerCore Boston participants. Issuing this RFP will allow PowerCore Boston to secure a qualified training provider to help meet program training requirements and fulfill service obligations associated with opera funding and other grant sources. The selected provider will deliver technical instruction and industry-recognized certifications that prepare participants with the skills, credentials, and hands-on experience needed to pursue careers in HVACR and building operations. Staff respectfully requests the board's approval to issue the RFP.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
No questions. A brief comment. I want to thank you, Mr. Jefferson, for your work. The Power Corps is such a vital program, and when we think about the action that is so sorely needed on climate change and what we need to do, and then the jobs that also accompany that, it really solves for two greens, both enhancing our sustainability as also preparing young folks for lucrative and very needed careers. So thank you, and we're proud to support the great initiative.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Second.
Or no, wait,
Sorry.
no, so we got so
Second.
moved and second. Okay,
was
all
ahead
those
of
in
myself.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks again, David.
Thank you again. You guys have a great rest of the day.
You too, take care. Item number 6, personnel. Mike.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Madam Secretary and Director Shen. We have one item for your consideration on the EDIC agenda with the exact details included in the board memos. We have one contract in the Director's Office, John Weil. Thank you, and I'll answer any questions you have.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Mike. And that was the last item. So I need a motion to adjourn the EDIC meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. EDIC meeting is adjourned. Okay. Let's start with the next portion. Thank you for joining the July 16th, 2026 Boston Redevelopment Authority Board meeting. At this time, the Boston Planning and Development Agency is hosting public meetings in a hybrid setting for the health, safety, and accessibility of Boston residents. Hybrid means that our board meetings are conducted in person at City Hall in our boardroom on the 9th floor and virtually via Zoom and Boston City TV at the same time. For more information and updates, visit bostonplans.org. The Open Public Meeting Law requires that I notify the public that this meeting is being recorded. Please be aware that an audio and visual recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast by Boston City TV, which is a part of the City of Boston Office of Cable Communications at Xfinity Channel 26, RCN Channel 13, and Verizon Fios Channel 962. It is also being live streamed at boston.gov/cable. Now, if there's anyone in the audience who's recording this meeting, I ask that you please identify yourself now. Okay, hearing and seeing none. Also, please note that demonstrations of approval and disapproval from members of the public are not permitted during the meeting. We'll start this meeting with roll call. Ms. Bennett?
Here.
Mr. O'Malley?
Present.
And the chair is present. Item number 1, request authorization for the approval of the minutes of the June 18th, 2026 board meeting. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2. Request authorization to extend a license agreement with the Navy Yard Garden and Art Incorporated for continued use of the BRA-owned property located in the Charlestown Navy Yard along the Dry Dock Number 2 chain link fence for installation of crocheted bunting from July 20th, 2026 through September 7th, 2026. Samantha.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm here to request approval to extend the license agreement with the Navy Yard Garden Art for the temporary installation of crocheted bunting in the Charlestown Navy Yard along Dry Dock 2 chain link fence. Established in February 2018, the Navy Yard Garden Art is a nonprofit volunteer organization focused on activating and sharing natural spaces through creating public art installations, revitalizing gardens and infrastructure, and offering free programming throughout the Charlestown Navy Yard. The crocheted bunting was created with funds received from the Boston Harbor Islands Innovative Grant, which grants funds to civic, environmental, and community projects on the Boston Harbor Islands and Boston Harbor Walk. The 2026 cohort focused on the concept of We the People, which reflects the voices of those who have been historically unheard or underrepresented. The initial term of this license is from June 29th, 2026 through July 20th, 2026. This authorization will allow for the extension of the initial license term through September 7th, 2026, whereupon the Navy Yard Garden Art will remove the bunting from the fence. The Navy Yard Garden Art is responsible for the maintenance of the crocheted art. There will be no fee proposed for the license area due to the community benefit nature of the proposed use. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Samantha. Item number 3 has been removed. Item number 4, request authorization to extend the license agreement with Community Music Center of Boston for continued use of 3 lots located at portions of 1, 2, and 4 Palmer Street, 2180 through 2190 Washington Street, and 2148 Washington Street, also known as the Blair Lot, between November 2nd, 2026 and January 30th, 2027. Samantha.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm here to request approval to extend the existing license agreement between the BRA and the Community Music Group of Boston for the temporary use of 3 vacant lots owned by the BRA, commonly referred to as the Blair Lot, for temporary laydown of materials and equipment associated with the ongoing renovation of 2164 Washington Street. Community Music Group of Boston is an arts education nonprofit founded in 1910 with a mission to transform lives by providing equitable access to music education and arts experience. Over 3,000 students of all ages, from preschool to seniors, participate in their programs every week. They are proud to act as the largest external provider of arts education to Boston Public Schools. CMCB has acquired 2164 Washington Street and initiated rehabilitation of the building. To support this work, CMCB seeks to extend the existing license agreement to access and use portions of the Blair Lot adjacent to the property. The license area will be used for temporary laydown of materials and equipment associated with the building's ongoing renovation. Given CMCB's status as a nonprofit organization, its ongoing contributions to the community, and the temporary nature of the use, no fee is associated with the license agreement. The existing license agreement expires on November 2nd, 2026. BPDA staff is recommending extending the existing license agreement through January 31, 2027, with 2 additional 30-day extensions at the sole discretion of the BPDA director. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? All right. Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thanks, Samantha. Item number 5, request authorization to extend the tentative designation status of Tenants Development Corporation for the development of parcel 22A in the South End Urban Renewal Area, project number Mass R-56, located at 151 Lenox Street in Roxbury for a period of 12 months until June 30th, 2027. Ben.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm requesting a 12-month extension to the tentative designations status for Tenants Development Corporation, or known as TDC, for the redevelopment of parcel 22A located at 151 Lenox Street in the South End Urban Renewal Area. The board originally awarded TDC tentative designation in June 2018 and has extended the designation since the original vote to allow the developer to continue in their work towards helping us improve this part of our city. TDC had initially proposed to develop a community center with office space for its headquarters there. In early 2024, after continued conversations with staff and significant analysis, it was determined that the previously proposed project was not financially achievable given current market conditions. It is TDC, though, is now working on a project that includes a 100% residential use with 38 new rental units for seniors, and has made steady progress with this new idea. In the last 6 months, TDC presented at the Zoning Board of Appeals earlier this week and submitted its application to the Massachusetts Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities funding application. TDC expects to use this 12-month extension to reapply to MOH and EOHLC to firm up their financing, continue in the ZBA process, and other critical steps to get their project ready to break ground. This tentative designation extension will allow TDC to continue progress in developing 151 Lenox Street into a community asset. We expect to be back before you in 12 months to provide an update on the project status and maybe even provide a construction start date. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Item number 6, request authorization to extend the final designation status to Nuba LLC as developer of a portion of parcel 8 located at Harrison Avenue and Washington Street in the Nubian Square area of Roxbury neighborhood for a period of 3 months until October 31st, 2026, and to execute a deed and land disposition agreement.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I know I've been coming back to you every 3 months for the extension of this project at Parcel 8 to construct a 110,000 square foot development with 109 affordable developments. So since our last extension, we have actually commenced closing calls and we are in active closing calls. That being said, we do expect that we will need a few additional months of time to close the transaction. So at this time, we are requesting 3 months of extension to their tentative designation, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Yoon. Good luck. Item number 7, request authorization to issue an invitation for bids for snow removal, salting, and sanding services at BRA-owned properties citywide for a contract term of 3 years with 2 one-year term renewal options. Lauren?
Hello, Chair Rojas, members of the board, Director Shen, Secretary Polhemus. I'm here before you today requesting authorization to proceed with our next snow removal services procurement to ensure reliable winter operations across BRA properties. This authorization will allow us to issue an IFB under Mass General Law 30B for plowing, shoveling, removal, and salting citywide. The IFB will be publicly advertised and awarded to the lowest responsible bidder. The contract is for 3 years with 2 one-year extensions at the discretion of the director, funded through the operating budget with an annual not-to-exceed amount of $235,000. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks, Lauren. Obviously, support this. It's good to be prepared and discuss it when it's 80-something degrees outside, but I'm glad, nevertheless, of your due diligence.
I like to be prepared.
Absolutely, we
coming.
should be. And the more we prepare, the less likely we have that we're going to get hit with
That's
more
what I'm
storm,
hoping.
if that's anything. Quick question, just out of my own curiosity. So it's 235 is about what we're looking at for the contract. What was the last contract? I don't think it's a particularly high amount of money given the number of property we hold. I'm curious what inflation has looked like for something like a significant snow contract like this.
So we generally assume a 3% financial increase, but we also review the amount of property we have. So these properties are separate from the waterfront. So this is all of our Roxbury and Dorchester properties. And also working with the dispositions team over here, we add and subtract through the contract term. So this is an average of the space we expect that we will need, and also, again, a 3% increase from the last budget cycle.
And I guess what happens if I still have the scars, as many of us do, from February of 2015, where we had 26 days of snowfall. Like, what happens when just the accumulation is far beyond what people are predicting?
So we make sure to specifically add in that we have removal, snow removal, right? So that's a different actual budget item when you're dealing with the snow removal companies, right? So a lot of them are able to come and move snow, but we make sure that we have a removal company so that if the snow is building up on our property, they can take it away so it doesn't stay.
But it's not as though we enter these contracts knowing it could be a very, the amount is allocated per snow. If we have no snowfall whatsoever, then
Then we have
We
more
pay
for
nothing.
next year.
there you go. Perfect. Excellent. All right, thank you very much.
Thank
you,
you.
Madam Chair.
And just out of curiosity, we usually have an EDIC mirror on these things. Are they separate contracts?
So we
or-
actually have 3 separate contracts. We have an EDIC one for EDIC property, and then we have a separate one for the waterfront properties because we need different conditions and different levels of, skills.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks.
thank you.
All right. Item number 8, request authorization to issue an invitation for bids for the Shipyard Park waterfront repairs located in the Charlestown Navy Yard. Sandra?
Thank you again. Madam Chair, members of the board, we are requesting authorization to advertise and issue an invitation for bids pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 3039M, to procure a qualified contractor for the Shipyard Water Park front repairs project in the Charlestown Navy Yard. This is the first time the matter has been before you. Located along the Harbor Walk at Shipyard Park, the waterfront infrastructure includes steel bulkheads, masonry seawalls, concrete pile-supported structures, and marine fendering systems that have been exposed to harsh marine conditions for decades. Previous phases of this ongoing rehabilitation effort included restoration of the structural pile supporting supporting Pier 4 and replacement of the timber boardwalk adjacent to Dry Dock Number 2. This project represents the next phase of improvements necessary to preserve the long-term integrity of the waterfront and the harbor walk. The project will address deteriorated masonry at Pier 4, MBTA Ferry Terminal, repairs to the underside of Pier 5, removal of abandoned utilities, restoration of damaged fendering systems, and repairs to the deteriorated steel sheet pile bulkheads along Piers 4 and Pier 5. The bid package has been prepared by engineering firm GEI and will be publicly advertised in accordance with Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30, Section 39, and all applicable city ordinances. The construction contract will be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder and brought back before the board for approval. The estimated construction cost for this work is approximately $850,000, and funding is included in the BPDA fiscal year 27 capital construction budget. We anticipate returning to the board with an award recommendation later this year. Therefore, we are requesting that the secretary be authorized to advertise and issue an invitation for bids for the Shipyard Park waterfront repair projects. Thank you. If there's any questions, happy to answer.
Any questions or comments from the board? I do have one, just out of curiosity, for the areas around the Pier 4's MBTA ferry stop, does the MBTA participate at all in kind of the, the maintenance of that stop, or? Just trying to get a sense if like we have any shared costs, like I know the repair needs are endless, but just curious.
Yeah, typically, so there is the pier itself, which we take on the primary implementation and the actual capital needs for. The gangway connection to allow for the people to get onto the ferry, that is something that we share, but also kind of like is a shared capital responsibility, but the T does help with sort of the operations and maintenance of that, but they are our licensee, and so therefore we don't really put that larger scale investment on them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, item number 9, request authorization to issue a request for qualifications to hire a licensed design consultant to provide design services resulting in construction documents to perform the condensing water replacement project at China Trade Center located at 2 Boylston Street. Sandra.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board again. We are requesting authorization to advertise and issue a request for qualifications pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 7C, Section 44 through 58, to procure a qualified design consultant to provide engineering and design services for the condensing water replacement project in the China Trade Center, located at 2 Boylston Street in Boston. This is the first time the matter has been before you. The China Trade is a historic 6-story building located in Chinatown that serves a variety of educational, retail, and office tenants. Originally constructed in 1882, the building is listed in the National Register of Historic Places and also designated as a Boston landmark. This project addresses aging building infrastructure associated with the cooling tower system. While the cooling tower itself was upgraded in 2017, the existing condensing water piping remained in service and now is over 30 years old. Over time, the piping has experienced multiple failures requiring emergency repairs. Recent assessments identified significant corrosion throughout the system, and portions of the piping continue to actively leak, creating operational and maintenance concerns for the building. Through this procurement, we will select a qualified design consultant to evaluate existing conditions and develop construction documents for the replacement of the condensing water system. The scope will include design development, preparation of construction documents, bidding assistance, and construction administration service. Funding for this project is included in the fiscal year 27 capital construction budget, and with an allocation of approximately $750,000 for the design and construction. We anticipate returning to the board with a recommendation to award a design contract later in the year. Therefore, we are requesting that the secretary be authorized to advertise and issue a request for qualifications for the China Trade Center condensing water replacement project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Sandra.
Thank you.
Item number 10, request authorization to issue an invitation for bids for repairs to the Long Wharf North Boardwalk project in the Central Wharf District. Tyler.
Thank you again, Madam Chair, members of the board. We are requesting authorization for the Secretary to advertise and issue an invitation for bids pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30, Section 39M, to procure a qualified contractor to complete repairs to the North Boardwalk at Long Wharf in the downtown Central Wharf District. This is the first time this matter has been brought before you. Long Wharf is one of the Boston's most historic and heavily visited waterfront destinations and serves as a key connection within the Harbor Walk system. An assessment of the North Boardwalk identified several structural deficiencies that require work to maintain public safety. The project includes replacement of the deck boards and the repair of the structural framing system. The new deck surface will be a corrosion-resistant material, and the screw jack design will also allow for future adjustment should additional settlement occur. The invitation for bids will be advertised and procured in accordance with Massachusetts Public Bid Law under Mass General Law, Chapter 30, Section 39M. The resulting construction contract will be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder and will be brought back before the board for approval. Staff will work closely with adjacent property owners and the public to minimize disruptions throughout construction. Upon completion, these repairs will improve the boardwalk's structural integrity and ensure compliance with state accessibility requirements related to the slopes and cross slopes. The estimated construction cost is approximately $600,000, and funding for this work is included in the FY27 capital construction budget. We anticipate returning to the board with an award recommendation following completion of the bidding process. Therefore, we are requesting that the Secretary be authorized to advertise and issue an invitation for bids to procure a qualified contractor to complete repairs to the North Boardwalk at Long Wharf. Thank you. I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Tyler. Item number 11, request authorization to issue a request for proposals from qualified applicants to purchase and redevelop parcel RR-95 in the South End Urban Renewal Area, project number Mass R-56, also known as 36 Hammond Street in the Roxbury neighborhood. Ben.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm here to request authorization to advertise and issue a request for proposals for qualified applicants for us to sell and redevelop 36 Hammond Street in the Roxbury neighborhood. The premises is also known as RR95 in the South End Urban Renewal Area. The premises is an approximately 1,886 square foot vacant, relatively flat parcel of land. The property is abutted by another vacant flat parcel of land to the north, a residential building and green space to the south and west, and Hammond Street to the east. The property had previously been designated to a developer, but that did not come to fruition and has been vacant for many years. As part of a new RFP process, staff held a community meeting earlier this year and elicited feedback for development priorities from the community. After reviewing feedback from the community, working with other staff, and reviewing different planning, zoning, and regulatory materials, it was decided that an RFP for the premises should include the following themes as development objectives: residential use with a preferability for affordability and/or homeownership, development without displacement, community benefits, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Further, the design guidelines of this RFP will encourage the development of the premises in a way that preserves and enhances the distinct physical character of the area and presents exceptional designs that enhance the public realm and support the city's goals for sustainable and healthy housing. An appraisal was commissioned, and the value stated in it was $500,000, and that will be the asking price in the RFP, but a lower amount may be considered if the development delivers on housing affordability goals. We expect to be back before you in late 2026 to provide an update on the RFP submissions and hopefully selection of a proponent for tentative designation. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Item number 12, request authorization to petition the zoning commission to adopt text amendments that resolve language and clerical errors in the zoning code. The Rika.
Thank you so much.
Chair Rojas, members of the board, Director Shen, and Secretary Polhemus. My name is Tharika Lakamwasam, and I am the planning assistant of the zoning reform team. Today, I will be presenting to you all about the proposed zoning amendment to resolve language and clerical errors in the Boston zoning code. Next slide, please. The Boston zoning code represents approximately 4,000 pages of amendments and additions made over the last 50 years. Some of these amendments have contained small clerical errors, and there is an ongoing need to ensure language is clearly understood and consistently interpreted. The amendment before you today would resolve a set of such errors and clarifications currently existing in the zoning code text. The amendment contains 6 language clarifications and small errors spread across 5 articles. These issues have been identified and collected on an ongoing basis through staff review of the code and notification from other peer departments, including the Inspectional Services Department. This update will not establish new regulations and will not change the functioning of the code's existing regulations. It serves instead to improve the code's accuracy and ensure proper accessibility to our city's zoning rules and requirements. Next slide, please. The first clarification before you was requested by the ISD so that it is unequivocally clear that concessions are included within an entertainment event use by adding a direct reference within Article 8. Next slide, please. In Article 42A, Section 18, we will be adding clarifying information from the Harbor Park Plan about the public accommodation requirement. Next slide, please. We will be adding the correct symbology to an error in Table B of Article 42F, Section 13 to accurately address Pier 5. Next slide, please. In Article 51, Table D's footnotes, we will update a section reference to the correct section that was caused by a renumbering from a previous text amendment. Next slide, please. In Article 80A, Section 2, specifically looking at the manner of publication requirement, we'll be adding 2 clarifications. The first will simplify the phrasing of who the electronic distribution list needs to be available within the city, and the second is clarifying the procedures of 2 specific planning department documents. Next slide, please. The zoning reform team continues to implement a review process before and after the implementation of our amendments into Muni Code. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
I will just echo your last slide, Tharika, by thanking you for taking on this Herculean effort. It's so important, and honestly, we appreciate these transparent updates. I don't think there's anything earth-shattering. I don't think any changes anyone could have any quibble with, so appreciate you taking the time. The zoning code is incredibly complicated, incredibly dense, so anything we can do to make it a little more easily navigable is a step in the right direction. So appreciate you and your colleagues' great work in this part.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for taking all my comments. That's awesome. All right, Tharika, thank you so much. I think we're ready for a vote. Motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Item number 13, request authorization to issue a certificate of completion for the successful completion of the Old Colony Phase 6 project in accordance with Section C.4 of the cooperation agreement by and between the BPDA and Old Colony 6 Bonds Limited Partnership dated August 11th, 2023. It's a certificate of completion, so there's no presentation. A motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 14, a request authorization to issue a certificate of completion for the successful completion of the Belvedere Street Student Housing Project located at 39 Dalton Street in the Back Bay, in accordance with Section C.4 of the cooperation agreement by and between the BPDA and 39 Dalton Owner LLC dated March 25th, 2025. Another certificate of completion, so a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. All right. Item number 15, request authorization to issue a scoping determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80B Large Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 58 residential rental units, including 10 IZ units, 37 car parking spaces, and 70 bicycle parking spaces located at 1200 Soldiers Field Road, and to enter into a cooperation agreement in connection with the proposed project and to take all related actions. Jack.
Thank you and good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, and Director Shen. My name is Jack Gilman, and I'm a project assistant with Development Review. I'm here before you to present the large project located at 1200 Soldiers Field Road in the Alston neighborhood. On March 27th, 2026, Thunderdome LLC filed a project notification form for a proposal that seeks to raise and replace the existing commercial structure and construct a new 6-story multifamily residential building of approximately 66,747 gross square feet with up to 58 rental units and 37 off-street vehicular parking spaces. The project will also provide 58 long-term bicycle parking spaces and 12 short-term bicycle parking spaces. The residential rental unit mix will include approximately 31 one-bedroom units and 27 two-bedroom units. The project has also committed $25,000 for off-site parks and open space improvements in the vicinity of the project. Additionally, the BPDA hosted a virtual public meeting on April 14th, 2026, an impact advisory group meeting on April 29th, 2026, and a joint IAG and public meeting on July 9th, 2026. The meetings were well attended and well received and noticed on the BPDA's events calendar and sent to the Alston neighborhood distribution list. Lastly, I just want to thank the members of the public, the IAG, the elected officials, and city agencies who helped review the proposed 1200 Soldiers Field project. So with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague Michelle Yee to present the planning context for the project.
Thank you, Jack. Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Yee, and I am the planner assigned to this project. Next slide, please. Okay. The proposed project at 1200 Soldiers Field Road is located within the Alston-Brighton Neighborhood Zoning District within the Barry's Corner Community Commercial or CC1 subdistrict. It is also located within the Greenbelt Protection Overlay District or GPOD, governed by Article 29 of the Zoning Code. The proposed project is located at the intersection of Soldiers Field Road and Everett Street, serving as a transition between the residential fabric of Lower Alston and the public open spaces adjacent to the Charles River. In regards to transportation, there are 2 blue bike stations within 0.5 miles of the project site. Additionally, is access to the MBTA 66, 70, and 86 bus routes. Next slide, please. The proposed project also falls within the study area of the Western Avenue Corridor Study and Rezoning, also known as WACR-Z, which was adopted by the BPDA Board in October 2022 and codified into zoning November 2022. WACR-Z established a guide for new development along Western Avenue that will provide necessary housing, support an optimized mix of land uses, and create new open spaces. It also created new zoning for large-scale development through planned development areas or PDAs. Although the proposed project does not qualify as a PDA, it is still consistent with the planning principles and goals behind WACR-Z, such as aligning with the land use objectives of allowing for multifamily residential buildings along Soldiers Field Road. Through the staff review process, the proposed project also increased setbacks to help expand sidewalks along Everett Street, Soldiers Field Road, and McDonald Avenue to meet complete streets guidelines. While the proposed project will need variances for dimensional regulations, including height and FAR, zoning relief is appropriate given the proposed project's consistency with the local planning context, as well as provisions of Section 7-3 of the Zoning Code. Because the proposed project is located in the Greenbelt Protection Overlay District and adjacent to public parkland, it will need to undergo Parks Design Review for Section 29-5 of the Zoning Code and Municipal Code Section 7-411. Thank you, and I'll turn it over to the development team to present the project in more detail.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Secretary Paul Hemus, Director Chen, Attorney Joe Hanley from McDermott, Quilty, Miller, and Hanley, representing the proponent, Thunderdome LLC, whose principal is Jeff Fierman. Just before we take you quickly through this presentation, on behalf of the proponent, I too want to thank the members of the public, the Alston Civic Association, as well as the members of the Impact Advisory Group who helped to guide and shape this and what was a very well positively received development in their community. We're also in receipt of the support letter from District Councilor Braden, Council President Braden, and we would like to thank her for her input and guidance as well. So real quick, I'm here with David O'Sullivan, who in a minute will just take you through the plans, and I'll just orient you to the site a little more. But you will see in this, in the middle of the red radius is the site. The next slide brings you a little closer up in proximity. So as you heard, we happen to be in Wackersey, which is obviously very helpful in guiding this through the planning process. But we're also at a really unique location to introduce much-needed residential housing at the intersection of Everett Street and Soldiers Field Road. Plan left, directly across the street is the Artesani playground and parklands along the Charles River. Previously, there was really no way to get across the street, and thanks to Lita Moran and others in the community, DCR is now doing a crosswalk there. And so what this project will do, in addition to introducing much-needed market rate and affordable housing, is to a development without displacement, is to represent or replace, excuse me, if you go to the next slide, what is an outdated annex building that was part of the BZ campus at that intersection. This view shows you the look along Soldiers Field Road in that intersection that I talked about. Next slide. This is a view going up Everett Street. And if you go to the next slide, what you'll see, and I'll hand it to David in a minute, is plan left in the lower is that intersection. And so in addition to site measures and a beautiful new building, we're also investing in much needed public realm and pedestrian connectivity to connect in with the new crosswalk so that members of the public and the new residents we're seeking to introduce here with this building will be able to enjoy the outdoor space. Plan right takes you up to Western Avenue, and by virtue of Wackersey, there's a significant investment in retail and commercial uses. And so this development will also provide better pedestrian access and integrate with all the good work that's happening on Western Ave. So with that, I'll ask David O'Sullivan to take you quickly through the plans. Thank you.
Thank you.
David?
Thank you. David O'Sullivan from O'Sullivan Architects. It's kind of a unique site in the sense that it does have three frontages. The frontage on Soldiers Field Road, we were able to provide space for a blue bike station to be built on the property whenever it's funded for the future. But we were actually able to improve the sidewalk along Everett Street, which now is pretty dilapidated, and will connect to the nice new sidewalk that the lab building did up to our kind of back road. The back road, there is kind of an alley right now. It's a private way. It serves as the lab building's loading docks, et cetera. So we kind of responded to that by putting our vehicle entrances, our trash transformer along that back edge there. And then working with the city on complete streets, did a sidewalk improvements and entrance to this building on the side of ours from Everett Street. And then planted some new trees along the Everett Street and a couple more along Soldiers Field Road. Next. So elevation-wise, 6 stories, strong base. Worked with the BPDA design staff on a lot of refinements of this. Go to the next one, probably is better. So this is probably easier to see. This is the corner of Everett and Soldiers Field Road. We have kind of this element on the corner, and then kind of stepping back from the corner, the top floor stepped back some. So it's creating an image on the corner that's kind of a landmark, combination of panels and brick on the building. This kind of horizontal band kind of leads you from Soldiers Field Road to the building entrance. Next. This is looking right at from Soldiers Field Road. Recessed balconies, a lot of balconies and views, 4 units where you could take advantage to look at the Charles River. Next. This is along Everett Street where we have the first floor of the building by nature had to be up a couple of feet, but we integrated with landscaping and ramps, so it's not obvious that, it's obvious for somebody handicapped to get to it, but it's not intrusive as a access. And this canopy kind of designates where the front door is, and the bike parking entrance is right next to the front door. Next. Looking back a little bit, that this on the right, far right, shows our kind of driveway entrances. You can see the garage doors there. We have parking at grade, one entrance. We have a pedestrian exit out there. We have space for the trash out that back, and a second entrance goes to the parking below grade. So next. That's just another view from Everett Street a little higher up, so you can kind of see the front entrance on the bottom underneath the canopy and the building going down. And the white box is just actually a BPDA thing. The actual building is actually taller than that, the lab that got built. Next. And I think that's it. Kind of any questions, let us know.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Always good to see you, Attorney Hanley. I like this project. I like the design. When you first see sort of the renderings, it seems like a kind of a common building we see, but it's a little funky with the recessed balconies, with some of the sharp angles. Yeah, I like it. I think it makes sense and I think it's great for the neighborhood of Alston. A couple of points. You know what I'm going to ask, Joe? Any PV on the roof?
PV ready, as you'll see, all
it has to
electric
be.
building. Yeah, but part of it too is we have, because of the series of measures in the design, we do have some constraints of availability that would actually be productive for the PV.
Yeah,
So we
totally
need to look
understand.
at that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, and you think about it too. I mean, I showed you the building photos, but also the site has a lot of impervious areas that are obviously being improved, cooling the heat island effect and the like. And so we look forward to continual working on the PV piece as well.
Absolutely. That's great. And then talks about community choice energy, which I think is great, something I helped support with then Councilor Wu back in our previous iteration. Is it going to be 100% renewable with community choice or just opt into the program?
Yeah, opt in.
Okay. Well, I'd encourage you to consider opting up to opt up to 100%. And that's for the entire, that's for so the units, electricity will be included with the, it's not just for common areas. Okay. Well, again, as I often say, every environmentalist should be a fiscal conservative because you'll see even at 100%, you're often paying a much, much better rate. So I'd encourage that. And then the last question or I guess the last statement / question, we received a letter from the Charles River Conservancy, who does wonderful work. Can you talk a little bit about, and you mentioned this, Joe, about the connectivity, but work with DCR and Herder Park specifically, how that this building can both support that beautiful park and also make sure that more people have access to it?
It's really exciting. So, if you drive by there, you do have Soldiers Field Road has a little bit of the vestige of vehicle, right? And not as much pedestrian, and yet you're right along on that side. Artisani playground in the park is huge gathering space for events and everything, but you can't get there. And so having worked on several other projects with this agency in Soldiers Field Road, we were fortunate to have the leadership of the Alston-Brighton delegation working with DCR. And so that, I believe that crosswalk is actually done now.
Right.
And so that's ahead for us. And then also, it's points from that edge of Everett to go up to Western Avenue, which is really where the local services and everything are provided. So I think we're sort of filling in that gap to connect the two. And as you know, with housing, there's, sustainability, there's family size housing. I would note there are no studios here. These are all 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom units, all of good size. And we also think that families and folks in the city should be able to enjoy public recreation and the like, and no better place than along the Charles River in this area. So it's an exciting project, and I think you saw that in Council President Braden's letter for why she's supportive of this, not just the affordability and the residential, but also these integrated public realm and pedestrian connections. So we're proud that we earned a lot of support from people in the neighborhood, and it was in large part due to Jack's guidance and the folks with the agency. So thank you.
I appreciate that, Joe and team, and I think it's an excellent project. So wish you well. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks so much. Good luck. And before we move on, we do have, I believe, Councilor Weber, who would like to speak on an item. So, Councilor Weber, the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm not sure if I couldn't hear anyone while I was.
Yeah, we can hear you. You're
Okay.
loud and clear.
Great. Thank you for taking me out of order. My name is Ben Weber. I'm the Boston City Councilor for District 6. I represent back of Mission Hill and Jamaica Plain and West Roxbury, as well as a board member. Nice to see you. I had a couple of things I wanted to address, starting with 3326 Washington, which I think is number 20 on the agenda. I just, I think for that project, I'm here to speak in support of it. I think, everyone agrees that we're in the middle of a housing crisis, and the most readily available solution for that is to make sure we're building making housing more affordable by building more housing and ensuring that affordable units are a part of that. Going back to at least 2019, this site was being developed by, I think it was Washington Alpha. 2020, they won approval for a 43-unit building with 10 IDP units. It was 5 at 70% AMI, 2 at 50%, and 3 at 30%. But unable to deliver on that project. It was ultimately bought by another developer in 2024, LDEV Washington, and on October 27, 2025, LDEV proposed to build 43 units, but with less affordability. There would be 3 70% AMI units, with 4 offered for Section 8 voucher holders, and then 3 units bought out, with contributions to the city's Affordable Housing Development Fund. The BPDA was set to vote on this project in January of this year. I supported a delay of that vote to allow for essentially just additional negotiations with LDEV to try to get more affordable units. After meeting with the city's chief of housing and local advocates, LDEV has delivered a more affordable project. It's now 46 units with 9 affordable units. There are 2 at 70%, 2 at 50%, 2 at 30%, and 3 being offered to voucher holders. So, again, not a perfect project, but we have, a project that has a lot that's sat vacant for, over 7 years now. We now have a project that can help deliver the housing we need overall and deliver more affordability than was the original proposal before this board in January. So I do support the project that's before you today. Additionally, I just briefly like to address the number 22 on your list. It's 85 Parker Hill, which is in Mission Hill and is in my district. Most of the abutters are in Councilor Durkin's district, and this proposal, I am not opposing this proposal. There are a lot of concerns in the neighborhood that this will be housing for undergraduate students. I think that Councilor Durkin did negotiate large sort of 3-bedroom IDP units, 8 of them for home ownership. That's something that we don't really see a lot of, units that are that big, that are affordable. And so I want to commend Councilor Durkin for negotiating that in the process. I reached out to the developer. I did get a letter today from Savage Properties, and I just want to read a little bit of it into the record. It says that, I'm writing to assure you that my intention for the residential units at 85 Parker Hill Avenue is to attract long-term residents who will contribute positively to the Mission Hill community. My target tenants include medical and research professionals, seniors seeking to downsize while remaining in the neighborhood, and young families. Just a little later, it says, the project, it provides 8 affordable 3-bedroom home ownership units to further demonstrate my commitment, and this is the commitment to have it be for long-term residents, not undergraduate students. The letter states that, this is from Jason Savage, I've asked my attorney to contact the Boston Planning Department to explore incorporating language into the board memorandum that includes my representations to you. I'm hoping that that can be noted, and hopefully it's part of the board memo, but that there's a pledge to make these units available to long-term residents, people working, right in the Longwood medical area, and that this won't be housing for undergraduates. I recognize that there are a lot of concerns in the community about that. And I've worked both with the Developers Council, which got this letter today, and the city to make sure that this is providing units. I mean, we do, again, need housing in Boston. There are affordable units that are being provided in indeed 3-bedroom units like this. And there have been other promises, contributions to the Mission Hill Link and to the city's IDP fund. I think it can benefit the city, so I'm not opposing that project. And just lastly, in my district is 3841 Washington. I think it's number 24. I'm here just to, we need housing, and this is housing in an area where it seems to fit, right near public transportation on Washington Street near the Forest Hills T-stop. And so, I'm here just voicing my support for that. So that's it for me. I'm happy to answer questions, but I anticipate none.
Thank you so much, Councilor Weber. Any questions for him while we have him on the line? No. All right. Well, thank you so much for your participation. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, coming back to item number 16, correct? Yes. Request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 39 residential rental units, including 7 IZ units, 12 car parking spaces, and 40 bicycle parking spaces located at 34 through 36 Pratt Street, and to execute a community benefits agreement and to take all related actions. Dylan.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, and Director Shen. My name is Dylan Norris, the project manager from the Development Review Division of the Planning Department. I'm here before you to present the proposed Article 80E small project located at 3436 Pratt Street in the Allston neighborhood of Boston. You can go to the next slide. The project site is an approximate 14,000 square feet in size. It is currently the location of 2 two-story residential structures. This project proposes to raise the existing structures and erect a new 6-story multifamily residential building containing 39 residential rental units, including 7 income-restricted units pursuant to Article 79 inclusionary zoning. The project will also provide an at-grade parking lot for 12 motor vehicles, access from Pratt Street, along with 40 residential bike parking spaces in a dedicated bike room accessible on the ground floor. The small project review application was filed June 30th, 2025, which initiated the initial 30-day comment period, of which closed on the 31st of July. The Planning Department also sponsored a public meeting on August 11th, 2025, which was noticed through the Planning Department neighborhood distribution lists, events calendar, as well as published in the local and relevant newspapers. The project was well received during the community process, and with that, I will turn it over to my colleague Michelle Yee to give the zoning and planning context in which the project was reviewed. You can go to the next slide.
Thank you, Dylan. Hello again. My name is Michelle Yee, and I am the planner assigned to this project. The proposed project at 34 to 36 Pratt Street is located in the Allston-Brighton neighborhood zoning district within a 2F5000 subdistrict. While Pratt Street is predominantly residential, characterized by 2-family residential buildings, the portion of the street closer to Linden Street has seen an increase in multifamily residential developments. The proposed project also falls within the boundaries of the Allston-Brighton Needs Assessment, which was approved and adopted by the BPDA board in January 2024. As this project is proposing a residential building with 7 units of income-restricted housing, this is consistent with the need for accessible and affordable housing found in the needs assessment. Because the current zoning for the areas for lower-scale residential uses is not consistent with the emerging cluster of multifamily residential development that have been approved along Pratt Street. Since 2020, Pratt Street has seen projects approved with heights that range from 4 to 16 stories. My colleagues and I are currently working on the Allston-Brighton Community Plan to provide a more contemporary plan and zoning to guide growth in the neighborhood and the area surrounding the proposed project. Because this updated plan and zoning have not been implemented yet, my colleagues and I work directly with the proponents to ensure their design is responsive to its context. Next slide, please. Okay. As you can see here, compared to the other two approved projects, the proposed project is smaller in scale and helps to serve as a transition between the larger multifamily residential buildings and the existing residential fabric found in the area. Zoning relief is appropriate as the greater height and density aligns with the evolving context. In addition, it will bring many public realm improvements, including improving the sidewalk and the streetscape on Pratt Street. Thank you, and now I'll turn it over to my colleague, Jong Jun Ju from the Urban Design Division to present the project in more detail. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Michelle. Good evening. My name is Jong Jun Ju, and urban design staff assigned to this project. One of the defining features of the site design is the proponent's commitment to preserving 2 mature oak trees in the rear yard. To support that effort, the proponent retained an arborist to develop a tree mitigation plan and provide construction phase oversight to ensure the trees are protected throughout construction. The project also includes 4 new on-site trees and 1 new street tree and a wider public sidewalk. Next, please. The proposed 6-story residential building incorporates several design strategies that respond to the surrounding residential neighborhood. The building is set back to align with adjacent homes and establishes a 3-story street wall with the upper floors step back to reduce the perceived scale. The building design employs a 3-story brick base with lighter panel cladding above to reinforce the massing articulation, and also incorporate porches, balconies, bay windows, and warm tone materials to reflect the residential character of the area. Over the course of the design review, the proponent further enhanced the project by relocating the transformer from the building frontage to a below-grade vault, improving the front building elevation and the public realm. Overall, we believe this project is a strong example of delivering much-needed housing while thoughtfully respecting the surrounding neighborhood context. Thank you. Now I will turn it back to Dylan.
Thank you.
Thank you, June. As just a closing remark, I do want to note that this project has been responsive to both neighborhood and planning staff feedback, as well as the feedback from City Councilor Breeden, which resulted in the support letter that you all received today, as well as during the review process, the proponent was responsive in revising the massing along Pratt Street. And with that, that's going to conclude our presentation. I, myself, and the proponent team are here if you all have any questions, but thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed there's usually 4 columns on this last slide with sustainability, so can you talk a little bit about what sustainability aspects are included in this plan?
Happy to take it first part as a regulatory control. This project filed in 2025 prior to the adoption of net zero carbon, so it's not required to have the same Article 37 and net zero carbon sustainability metrics that we normally see on new projects. But Matt and Evan, I'll turn it over to you to go over the sustainability features.
Hi, Evan Stellman with Calsa Design Incorporated. I'm the architect on the project. So we are committed to doing a solar-ready roof, as well as other green building considerations like low-flow fixtures, high-performance windows, above building code minimum insulation. So we are committed to doing green building construction, but it's not a requirement that we go for actual passive house certification.
Is it going to be gas or electric building?
Electric.
It'll be electric. Okay, that's good. And I'd encourage you to, like the last project, opt into 100% on community choice energy. That's an easy and relatively inexpensive way to ensure sustainability bona fides. So
We'll discuss that. Thank you.
Okay.
Additional questions or comments?
Good.
I do want to just, comment that I appreciate the, the flexibility and the work of the staff and the proponent around being responsive to the planning needs while we're still doing the planning process for that area, and being responsive to the community as the fabric of that area changes as well. So, with that, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Good luck. Item number 17. Request authorization to enter into an affordable rental housing agreement and restriction for the proposed creation of one on-site IDP unit located at 36 Colborne Road, and to terminate the existing affordable housing agreement with the proponent dated June 28th, 2024, and to take all related actions. Andy.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair, Secretary Polhemus, Director Shen, and members of the board. I'm Andy Feldman, Housing Policy Manager with the Mayor's Office of Housing. Tonight, I'm here to request your vote on an affordable rental housing agreement and restriction for the development at 36 Colborne Road in Brighton. This development is building 11 units, and the board previously authorized an affordable housing agreement for one condo. Since beginning construction, the proponent has decided to change from home ownership to rental. Therefore, the vote in front of you tonight will allow the agency to enter into an agreement to dedicate one rental unit and terminate the prior housing agreement. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Item number 18. Request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 42 hotel extended stay suites, 2 car share parking spaces, and commercial ground floor space located at 269 through 275 East Cottage Street, and to enter into a community benefits agreement and to take all related actions. Lucia.
Lucia, hello.
Yeah.
And good
Okay.
afternoon.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you, and good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, and Director Shen. My name is Lucia Peñabanda, and I am a project assistant in the Development Review Division. I am here before you to present the Article 80E small project located at 269 to 275 East Cottage Street in Dorchester. 269 to 275 East Cottage Street is a proposed 6-story hotel extended stay building with 42 keys. The project will transform an underutilized 12,536 square foot site, formerly known as the Inn at Little House, into a mixed-use development that includes 42 extended stay hotel suites, retail and restaurant space, a rooftop cafe terrace, and 2 on-site shared vehicle parking spaces reserved for building users. Next slide. Thank you. The project is designed as an all-electric building that will meet Boston's net zero carbon zoning requirements while enhancing the pedestrian environment with wider sidewalks, new landscaping, 2 new street trees, an indoor bike parking room, and a $3,258 contribution to our Blue Bike system. The proposed project is also expected to create both construction and permanent hospitality jobs and support the continued vitality of local businesses. The proponent filed the small project review application on January 9th, 2026, and our staff held an initial public meeting on January 27th of the same year. Following our team's review and issuance of comments, our staff determined that the changes to the project satisfied our staff concerns, for which a second and closeout public meeting was held on June 15th, 2026. I will now turn to my colleague Ford Del Vecchio to present the project's planning and zoning context. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucia. My name is Ford Del Vecchio, and I'm the planning reviewer assigned to this project. Next slide, please. Perfect. The site of the proposed project encompasses approximately 12,536 square feet of land across 3 contiguous lots in the Columbia/Savin Hill section of Dorchester, located at 269 and 275 East Cottage Street, and an unaddressed lot near the corner of East Cottage Street and Dorchester Avenue. The site directly adjoins the proponent's recently completed 5-story mixed-use development at 951 and 959 Dorchester Avenue. The adjacent project includes 38 units of market rate income-restricted housing. Currently, the site of the proposed project is occupied by a term of the 20th century ecclesiastical building and a residential structure dating to the late 19th century. You can see those on the right of the slide. Although both structures were converted to homes for community organizations decades ago, severe structural deterioration makes adaptive reuse challenging. Consequently, the proponent intends to demolish these older buildings to clear the site for the proposed project. The proposed project has already gone through the Article 85 process, and a finding of no historical significance was given. Next slide, please. The proposed project is located in the Dorchester Neighborhood Zoning District's 3FD 3000 subdistrict. The site is not subject to any zoning overlay districts. The lot abuts a multifamily residential / local shopping sub-district centered on Dorchester Avenue. Buildings of the scale of the proposed project are common along this stretch of Dorchester Avenue. While such a design would not be appropriate in a mid-block location in the 3F sub-district, because the proposed project abuts a mixed-use zoning sub-district in the aforementioned 951 and 959 Dorchester Avenue, staff note the proposed project reads as an extension of the existing Dorchester Avenue neighborhood fabric and fits in with the context. Thank you. I'll now turn over to my colleague Andrew Zimmerman from the Urban Design Department to present in more detail.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Zimmerman, and I am the urban designer assigned to this project. Next slide, please. In the proposed site plan shown on the left, the active hotel frontage along East Cottage Street is complemented by a public realm improvements, including new street trees, short-term bicycle parking, and a widened public sidewalk to help activate the building entrance and enhance the pedestrian experience. Through design review, the proponent refined the project frontage to bring it into compliance with complete street standards. The building frontage further contributes to the project through integrated seating areas and landscape improvements. A diverse planting palette along the street reinforces the neighborhood's residential character while creating a more attractive, welcoming, and resilient streetscape. Next slide, please. The building complements the neighboring mixed-use development at 959 Dorchester Ave by introducing an active ground floor with both lobby and residential uses, restaurant uses. Above, the upper volumes mix brick, fiber cement panels, and lap siding, stepping back along 3 elevations to soften the scale of its 6 stories. The top floor, which is 30% of the size of the lower floor plates, features a rooftop restaurant and a shielded roof deck to protect neighbor privacy. Backed by significant local support, the proponent and the design team actively refined the project's aesthetics and massing in response to staff feedback to achieve its current form. And with that, I will turn it back to Lucia to conclude the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Next slide, please. This concludes our team's presentation. Our staff, as well as the proponent and developer, are here available to answer any of your questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the third bullet point under sustainability. I've been getting to that the last couple of questions. So opting up to 100% renewable is really going to make a key difference. And economically, it makes probably the most sense as well. So it's a great move. Happy to see that. This has been explained to me, I think, with every hotel I've seen. Remind me what 42 keys as opposed to 42 rooms. What does that mean?
Member O'Malley, Attorney Joe Hanley for the proponent. So those are the number of suites and rooms.
Okay.
In this instance, we have a good amount of extended stay because we think there's a big need for that. So those are, suites that have like a kitchenette and are a little bigger and can accommodate folks for a little bit of a longer time.
Makes
but
sense.
That's the amount of rooms.
But no, that makes perfect sense. And I've said this before, but it's worth repeating, and we particularly feel it. City just did a fabulous job hosting the Tall Ships World Cup down at Boston Stadium, which is a name I'm going to keep using. We have a shortage of hotel rooms in the city of Boston, and it's one of the reasons why rates that we rate are often double, sometimes triple what other cities are. So I think this is actually smart. I like these boutique-y, smaller hotels. I think it makes sense. It's a great neighborhood, close to public transit. I think it's a great project, and I'm excited.
Yeah,
to
thanks
see
for
the
that. And as you know, hotels are a public accommodation too. So really excited about the rooftop. That's intended and is going to be a cafe, not just a place people come up. So, but it also a space for the neighborhood and for neighbors to be able to host things and enjoy. It's boutique, so we're small, but we also think another dividend real quick is, better to have this type of an environment that's properly managed than some of the Airbnbs that we see in triple deckers or other parts of the neighborhood which maybe don't have those types of controls. And so we think that's another benefit here.
Agreed.
Thank you.
This is great. So thank you for that. Thanks to the team.
So in a project like this, forgive me if I missed this, but what's the contribution towards either housing or jobs linkage?
I do not have the details on a contribution for housing linkage, but they are contributing to the Blue Bikes system as their monetary contribution. I think the main community benefit for this project is the fact that this is an alternative stay opportunity for residents or for people visiting, for people that need to house their in-laws or a family member for an extended period of time where they might not fit into your one-bedroom apartment. So that is what our staff has determined to be the biggest contribution to the community.
Thank you. Okay.
It's below the threshold for linkage.
Ah. Doesn't trigger it.
All
Thank
right.
you, Kairos.
Just wondered why it wasn't up there. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting place to have, I think it's new, right? To have a hotel and extended stay type of, type of developments in this area. Can you just share a little bit about kind of the, that process, right, of assessing that this was an appropriate use, a good use within this area?
Yeah, we had a real extensive discussion and guidance of, planning, but also, with the neighborhood. One of the things I will say with Adam Sarba, who's the owner and developer, it's not a siloed approach. It is meant to be a companion to the mixed-use building that was approved by this board, which fronts on Dorchester Avenue. So some folks would say, well, I could see this on Dot Ave. Now, we were right in the heart of Columbia, Savin Hill, Transit, Red Line, right there, right? But, we, in that building, which exists, it's a multifamily residential, went through small project review. Adam was able to retain the Dorchester market and build a new market for them, a new location, which is a gem in the community and was one of the things we were asked to do. But it needs more foot traffic, right? And that area needs a little more vibrancy. And same thing with the residential. We have a restaurant space in 951 Dot Ave. So this new building is an addition to that and is connected. And what we found with the restaurant space, Adam promised the community we wouldn't put a chain in there. We were trying to find a local operator, that it wasn't big enough after the pandemic. And so this allows us, in combining on the ground floor of that hotel, of the inn, it's not just a hotel, right, is the ability to improve the flow of that restaurant space and dedicate the rooftop cafe to a potential operator, which we heard in the market, but we also heard from folks in the neighborhood that they would like. And then if you go into the ground floor in the back, we have neighborhood serving commercial space. We've been approached by a Dorchester-based fitness instructor that wants to take some space. So it's very much part of that, public component. And then as we look at the hotel, just to finish this, the idea is to have synergy with the residential, right? Especially as it's connected, as we're looking at more of an extended stay, visiting nurses, executives, but to do it in an environment where if you need something to eat, you're not going to be able to cook, but we have the Dorchester Market. We have great restaurants along Dorchester Avenue. You can go to the restaurant or go up to the roof. And if you like it so much, we're hoping that you'll stay and rent a unit in the building or stay in Dorchester, right? So it's not going to cure 42 rooms or 42 keys. It's not going to, solve the shortage, but it's very much intended to be a neighborhood asset. And I think you see this traditionally, even in the Back Bay and the South End, you have these guest house, if you will, and stuff. And it's a modern version of that we think. Fair point. We had to socialize this, but that's a long way to answer the question.
No.
And it sort of all comes together in a way that we think is going to work. And most importantly, our direct abutters in back of us, you probably saw in your file, a map that we provided. We have support from all of our direct abutters and folks in the immediate block who want to see this happen. We had a lively discussion further out and stuff and addressed a lot of this as well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Great, thank you, and I appreciate.
Sorry for the long answer.
No, I appreciate the long answer. I think we've been working together for a while now. No, it was exactly what I was trying to get an understanding of, just because it's just not every day. We see,
Right.
you see this project.
And I don't think if the front building that is brand new and has the market, the restaurant space,
Yeah.
that was once the old Tom English bar, and it was sort of like a underutilized, distressed.
Yeah.
I don't think, if we didn't have that anchor in front, that this would make as much sense,
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying. You could very much see this as one project had we, Adam didn't own the property in the back when we were approved for the first phase, but it is something that works really well together.
Yeah, no, it's again, super, super interesting. And I think also in this response that we got, from the community, I think is a really great display and representation of the work that that Lucia, you and the team did, as well as the developer and
Yeah.
to address that, right? I mean, I can only imagine the amount of communication that had to happen to respond to this.
I don't know if this will be scaled up, but like I said, in neighborhoods, it is something that will make that neighborhood more vibrant, interesting, and I think sustainable for people to stay in the neighborhood and have spaces like that for kids' birthday parties upstairs, or just the overall ecosystem that we need to live in.
Yeah, super cool. It's very interesting. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Congratulations. Thank you so much. And I think this is the first time we were seeing you, Lucia, so I really appreciate and I think you did a great job today.
I'll be back for the last item.
Oh, okay, hey, yeah, that's the way, just get them in. All right, item number 19. Oh, sorry. Counselor Durkin, thank you for coming and always joining us.
Thank you so much. You've heard from my colleague, Counselor Weber, on 85 Parker Hill Ave. I just wanted to provide comments. This is technically in Counselor Weber's district, but given the close connection between our districts and the impact that it will have on my constituents, I have remained engaged with the project from the beginning and have advocated for community priorities. Over the past 5 months, I've worked with residents, the developer, fellow elected officials, and the planning department to ensure that resident feedback was heard and to advocate for community benefits and mitigation measures to address concerns raised. I'm particularly proud that there will be 8 3-bedroom apartments within this to meet the needs for larger family-size units. I also was concerned about transportation mitigation for this project, putting over 100 new residents on this stretch. So I've advocated for pedestrian safety improvements, including a commitment for a raised crosswalk across Parker Hill Ave. Additionally, the developer is committed to improving the maintenance of their existing properties. Particularly want to thank them for removing graffiti after I brought up some of the blighted buildings. I do want to continue to have a conversation with this developer about the condition of the properties and the approvals that they've gotten in the area, and I would like to particularly to our director, would love to have that conversation. Additionally, we've gotten a commitment for $20,000 for the Mission Hill Link, and we've gotten $25,000 towards affordable housing development, which Councilor Weber secured that commitment. I want to recognize that this did not address every concern raised by the community, and I do think we need to have an overarching conversation about gentrification, about projects that have been approved in the neighborhood that have not yet come to fruition. My goal throughout this process has been to ensure that community feedback leads to meaningful improvements, and I think we've done that. I don't want to go further than the actual district councilor for this, so I have a position of non-opposition, but the benefit of this project is 103 units of housing, which we desperately need. It hurts me to go non-opposition because I genuinely feel like this is the most pressing and urgent need of our time, is building housing in the city. But I think that there are some concerns raised by constituents about general community process, and I do think we should have some conversations about these particular projects that are stalled in Mission Hill, and have a conversation about sort of how we fight gentrification and how we also make sure that our constituents are heard when it comes to the dilapidation of buildings. There's a lot of approved projects in this area in a very short stretch that definitely require our attention. So I know Chief Shen and I have done walks in Kenmore Square, so I think Mission Hill is our next stop, and I want to thank the board for all of your work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Durkin. Okay, so let's move back to item number 19. Request authorization to issue a scoping determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80B Large Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 120 residential rental units, including 22 IZ units and 150 bicycle parking spaces located at 9 Chelsea Street, and to issue one or more certifications of compliance or partial certifications of compliance pursuant to Section 80B-6 of the code upon successful completion of the Article 80B Large Project Review process, and to execute a cooperation agreement and transportation action plan agreement, and to take all related actions. Dan?
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Chair Rojas, members of the board, Director Shannon, Secretary Paul Hemus. My name is Daniel Polanco, and I'm the project manager for the proposed Article 80 large project before you tonight at 9 Chelsea Street, located in the East Boston neighborhood. The project's proponent, DND Homes, proposes to construct a new 6-story mixed-use building totaling approximately 84,267 gross square feet. The proposed project will include 120 residential units comprising of 76 studio units, 25 one-bedroom units, and 19 two-bedroom units, along with approximately 5,492 square feet of ground floor retail space across 2 retail units. The proposed project will also include 18 income-restricted units fulfilling their IZ requirements. As part of the public benefits and mitigation, the proposed project will provide significant neighborhood and public realm improvements, including a contribution of approximately $100,000 to the Maverick Square Transportation Action Plan. Additionally, the project will also contribute funds to East Boston Main Streets and Tree Eastie. As part of the Article 80 process, the project held a public meeting on March 11, 2026, as well as an impact advisory meeting on March 10th, 2026, and also hosted a second IG meeting on May 28th, 2026. The virtual meetings were advertised in the relevant neighborhood and planning department website. The calendar notification was sent to all subscribers of the East Boston neighborhood updates. I'd also like to note that we received support from the IIG members. There's also a letter from Rep. Adrian Madaro's office as well. Thank you for your time and consideration of the project before you tonight. I have the development team here to present the project in detail and answer any questions you may have. And I'll turn it over to my colleague Michelle Yee to discuss the planning context.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and good afternoon again. My name is Michelle Yee, and I am the planner assigned to this project. The proposed project at 9 Chelsea Street is located within the East Boston Neighborhood Zoning District within a mixed-use 7 or MU7 zoning subdistrict. The site is also located in the Groundwater Conservation Overlay District, or GCOD, governed by Article 32, and a portion of the site is in the Coastal Flood Resilience Overlay District, or CFROD, governed by Article 25A. The MU7 zoning district was informed by the use and dimensional recommendations of Plan East Boston, which was adopted by the BPDA board in January 2024 and codified into zoning April 2024. Plan East Boston was their neighborhood-wide planning initiative to guide growth in East Boston through recommendations for the public realm and transportation improvements, updated regulations for land use and bill form, and broader policy and program considerations throughout the neighborhood. Specifically, as one of the 4 main squares in East Boston, Maverick Square was noted as an important regional transportation hub with access to the MBTA Blue Line and multiple MTA bus routes. The plan recommended that buildings in the square contribute to a vibrant public realm by prioritizing active ground floor uses. Next slide, please. Because this area was rezoned in 2024, the bar for zoning relief is high. The proposed project requires a variance for lot coverage, side yards, and rear stepback abutting a residential subdistrict. It otherwise complies with the updated zoning parameters for use and other dimensional regulations. As the planner, I would recommend zoning relief for lot coverage, minimum side yard, and the rear stepback abutting a residential subdistrict. It is consistent with the criteria of Section 7-3 of the zoning code due to the highly irregular dimensions of the lot. As you can see, the proposed lot, highlighted in red, bless you, is both a corner and a through lot that directly abuts a residential subdistrict. No other zoning relief is appropriate. To help reduce the visual impact, the building was designed in collaboration with staff to reflect the built environment of both Maverick Square and the residential fabric as it steps down at the higher levels to break down the appearance of the massing. While the residential entrance abuts the residential district, the commercial district also faces Maverick Square, supporting the ground floor uses as envisioned in Plan East Boston. Additionally, the public ground and sidewalk improvements, which were designed to ensure consistently complete streets guidelines, will enhance the public experience in a manner consistent with the local planning context. Thank you, and now I'll turn it over to the development team to present the project in more detail.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Director Shannon, Secretary Polimis, Attorney Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano, here on behalf of the project at 9 Chelsea Street, the developer D&D Homes, who's here as well, and with me I have John Williams, who you'll hear from, who's the architect on the project. We're really excited to bring this project to you today. Many of you may know there was a project that was approved, different developer on this site many years ago, and it sat idle. There's a hole over that area now, and the community had been asking to see something developed for a long time. As you can see, it's situated right within the Maverick Square, which is a prominent business district in East Boston. It's located also within the residential corridor along Chelsea Street, Bremen Street, and Maverick Street, which is why we felt the project that we came forward with was appropriate for mixed use. It's, as was mentioned, it's 120 residential rental units on site, but we also wanted to make sure and ensure something that the community wanted to see is to keep a commercial base. So we've got 5,492 square feet of 2 ground level commercial spaces, and we also wanted to make sure we included a lot of amenity space, which includes pet wash, an office on site, and a package room, all within the ground level of the building. Next slide, please. This is our transportation slide, and although we're not providing parking, we feel this is an appropriate site because it's so close to the MBTA. We're with just a few minutes away from Maverick Square Station as well as Airport Station, right within walking distance. We have multiple car share services and blue bike stations that are there as well. As well as along Chelsea Street, there's multiple bus routes to get to other parts of East Boston, so that makes this area great for commuters coming into the downtown corridor. We also wanted to make sure we had a mix of housing, although with East Boston expanding, the number of single folks moving into the area looking for more affordable units, we have 72 studio units, 29 one-bedroom units, and 19 two-bedroom units that comprise the 120 units on site. We also have the 20% inclusionary development on site as well. We had an extensive community process. As was mentioned, we had 2 IAG meetings. We had our public meeting, and this particular area touches a number of civic associations. So we got the support of the Maverick Central Civic Association. We also met with the Jeffries Point Neighborhood Association, and we met with the Gove Street Association, as well as working with the design team here at BPD that really shaped and changed this project. So as we went through that process, we expanded the footprint of the commercial space, which is something we heard loudly from the community, as well as BPD staff. We instituted some pull-ins and pull-back on the project to cut back massing to bring you the project that we have today. So with that, you can go to the next slide. I'm going to turn it over briefly to John Williams, who's the architect, to go over his plans. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon, and I'm John Williams from DMS Design. So what we're looking at right now is actually, I believe, our roof site plan from our landscape architect. And so the point here is that we have about 3,500 square feet of rooftop space that's dedicated to amenities for the residents. Next slide, please. Okay, so now we're looking at the ground floor, and to orient you, Maverick Square would be at the top left of the drawing. Chelsea is at the top of the drawing. Maverick Street is to the left, and then Bremen Street would be down at the bottom of the page. The blue area is our retail space, which we've put the entry of as close to Maverick Square in the more prominent area of the site as possible, and we've located it so that we could make that area flexible, whether it would be 1 tenant, 2 tenant, or 3 tenants. We have the flexibility to do that. And then the green area, once you go down Chelsea Street a bit, is our residential lobby and our elevator core. And then going back towards the back of the site, towards Bremen, is where we have our bike storage, all on grade. Next slide, please. So here's our typical upper floor plan for floors 2 through 5, all residential use on this floor. Next slide, please. And then it seems to be cut off at the bottom, but what we do have on Bremen Street, we do step the building back about 7 or so feet in order to reduce the massing on that on Bremen Street. Next slide, please. That's once again the rooftop site plan. So I will talk about the ground floor site plan, even though it doesn't appear to be in this set right now. So we are widening the sidewalks. We are providing many sidewalk improvements on all 3 streets, new crosswalks. There's about 6 new street trees. On Bremen Street, we do, if you can see, there's to the bottom left on Bremen Street, we do set the sidewalk back even more to create a little space for a bench and some landscaped area that would be accessible to the public. And then our site controls, we will have a fence and a gate to separate the public realm from the private. Next slide. So we're looking at the Chelsea Street facade right now. So as mentioned, we're using some brick and some cementitious siding and then some corrugated metal siding to kind of bring the industrial nature and then the brick contextual elements into our facade. Next slide. This is coming around the corner towards Maverick Street. Many of the same components are here. Another example of where we create some bays to break down the massing of the building. Next slide, please. And then on the right side is our Bremen Street facade, where we kind of break them into smaller bays to kind of bring that scale down a little bit more on that back street. Next slide. And then, so this is the facade of the building that would be facing our abutters. So it's not a prominent facade, but the abutters will be able to see it. And so what we're trying to do with some of the materiality there is to create some movement and to make it a little less static and give it a little bit of interest. Even though it's a less prominent facade. Next slide, please. So the rendering on the left is looking from Maverick Square, and that's our retail entrance right at the ground level in front of you, and we give that corner a little bit of a different aesthetic to kind of make it a little more of a special corner. And then on the right, that image is looking from down Chelsea Street towards Maverick Square. Our residential entry is a little bit to the right behind, just behind that tree there. Next slide, please. On the left is the Bremen Street facade, where we break that down, the bays down a little bit more, and then on the right, that's our Maverick Street facade. Next slide. And then the remainder of the slides are, these were meant to be in the appendix, so that would be it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and great to see you folks. Appreciate this. I think you're quite literally and figuratively filling a hole that's been left vacant in the neighborhood. So, and Attorney Drago, appreciate your great work. I know how East Boston is a special part of your heart, and I know you've worked to build a coalition here. A couple questions. Talk about the heat pump space conditioning. Is it going to be several? How many heat pumps, or is it going to be a
Yes,
larger sort of?
it'll be individual up on the roof is where the heat pumps will be.
How many will they have? You couldn't do one for every unit. You'd run out
How
of space.
many? I would, one per unit at least, I believe.
Wow, okay. That seems, that would make it difficult to do. I don't know that they would fit, but either there'd be multiple, you're talking about the smaller module
Yes.
heat pump units. Okay, so I think that is dovetails to the project to purchase renewable electricity. I'd strongly urge you, as I have with the last several projects, to opt up to 100% with these heat pumps. They have a coefficient of performance at the residential level, which is quite high. So it literally will make a pretty good financial case to opt up to 100% renewable. So I'd urge you in the next step of the process. What's the and I like having it doesn't make sense for every project for every neighborhood, but having some of the studios I think makes sense. You have so many young professionals who are now coming to East Boston wanting to live there. What's the approximate square footage on some of those units?
Around 400 square feet.
Okay, yeah. So I think that's fine. And you may have, so I was taking some notes, so I may have missed it, but any idea and I won't hold you to it, but the commercial space on the first floor, some potential tenants that we'd be looking at?
So it's actually, yeah, it came up quite a bit, Member O'Malley. Folks really wanted to see some sort of a grocery type store. Now, it's not, we looked at some larger national chains like Trader Joe's. There wasn't a big of appetite for that just because of the size, but there's some smaller, like mom and pop, that we're talking to. And I know that's something that the community really wanted to see, as well as more like local type space. So local businesses to relocate at this particular site because of its prominent location.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a great location, looks exciting, and I appreciate the work of you and your team, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, additional questions or comments? I do have some, let's see. Can we start with the AFFH strategy? So can you just give just an overview of, sorry, I'm just trying to find the actual letter, but how this project went through the AFFH process and where it stands.
So for affordability or
Fair housing.
The fair housing,
Fair.
the affirmatively
Yeah, so-
furthering fair housing. We get something in our package that talks about it. So
Sure.
it references that it hasn't concluded its review. So I just wanted to kind of know where.
Yeah,
where
so
that
we
stands.
so we met with folks, obviously we put the packet together to answer any questions around that. Obviously, we have a screen, there'd be a screening process and all of that. But obviously, this project wouldn't have any displacement on site or anything like that. It would be, would be interviewing and looking for local folks within the area, obviously, meeting with affordable housing agencies like the East Boston CDC, NOAA Neighborhood of Affordable Housing for any potential applicants or anything like that on that piece, so.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the, I guess, the elephant in the comments section about parking. So and whether that's the agency or, I know this is one project and the parking, but I'm just trying to get a sense of what that looks like cohesively within the neighborhood. So I think that's more of a comment for the agency, but also.
Yeah, so when we came with just because of its location, right?
Yeah.
Because it's 2-minute walk to Maverick T Station as well as Airport T Station. We have so many opportunities to use public transit with the bus stops along Chelsea. We felt if there was a location that was going to have walkability and was going to have other modes with the extensive bike room that we have, we're also contributing to the Blue Bike Station as well. We really wanted to have one project that didn't have a parking location, but we also talked with the transportation folks about a designated pickup drop-off area on site on one of the sections of the public street for like move-in drop-off packages. I have to be honest, during community process, I think there's been a mindset shift, and particularly in this section where parking was probably the least of the concerns. It was more about having commercial space, having affordability on site, and having a sort of a mix of unit stock. But just because of this location, its proximity, I think it fits nicely under, and especially with the new zoning for this particular area, the emphasis on parking's gone down.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I also wanted to add, in terms of the zoning, parking isn't required in this area, especially as it goes through a large project review, where the parking is actually set through the project when we review it as part of the project.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I think I'm just trying to reconcile lived experiences of, my fellow neighbor, Boston neighbors of what the parking situation looks like now and kind of what our overall plan is for that, from a neighborhood perspective, as far as are we converting to this, new transit-oriented way of life, right, in East Boston, and kind of, I guess, what does that look like now, or just trends that we're seeing? I don't know.
So I think overall we have been trying to orient towards more transit-oriented developments and have encouraged lower parking ratios as well. But of course, it takes we also take in consideration the area and the neighborhood as well, what already exists there. With this project in particular as well, we did take in consideration the existing on-street parking regulations with the residential parking permits. And understandably, with the loading and parking the loading requirements, we're thinking about how we can incorporate that while not really creating any detriments to the neighborhood as well, but while understanding that overall, we would like to progress to less parking overall, but thinking about how we can implement that slowly, really.
Okay. All right. Any further questions or comments? Okay, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Good luck. Thank you. Okay, item number 20. Request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed creation of 46 residential rental units, including 9 IDP units and 48 bicycle parking spaces located at 3326 Washington Street, and to enter into an affordable housing rental agreement and restriction and a community benefits agreement, and to take all related actions. Camille.
Thank you, and good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, and Director Shen. My name is Camille Platt-DaCosta, and I'm a Senior Project Manager with the Development Review Division. Here before you to present the small project change located at 3326 Washington Street in Jamaica Plain. On May 20th, 2026, LDEV Washington LLC filed a small project change for the previously approved small project at 3326 Washington Street. The change is due to an increase in units as well as minor facade changes to the exterior of the new building. The BPDA hosted a virtual public meeting on June 8th of 2026, which was very well attended and was distributed to the Jamaica Plain listserv. The comment period ended on June 19th of 2026. Next slide, please. The previously approved project, which was approved in November of 2020, consisted of 43 rental units and 10 inclusionary development policy units. The small project change calls for an increase to 46 units with 9 units as IDP. The proponent worked diligently with both the community and the Mayor's Office of Housing to create the appropriate unit mix for the updated project as well as the IDP change. Currently, the lot is empty and the building is not built, so this will be a new build. There will be 43 long-term bike parking spaces as well as 4 short-term bike parking spaces within the building. The project will meet LEED Silver and will target LEED Gold. I will now turn it over to Andrew Plum to discuss the planning context of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Camille. My name is Andrew Plum, and I'm the planner assigned to this project. Next slide, please. The proposed project is located on Washington Street near the MBTA Green Street Station in Jamaica Plain and is within the planned JP Rocks plan area. Adopted in 2017, the plan sought to shape new, inclusive growth that provides both market rate and affordable housing. The plan highlights the area's opportunities for balanced growth, given the amount of industrial and vacant land and its proximity to the Orange Line. The plan proposed new zoning with a density bonus that would have allowed greater residential density for projects that provided additional affordable housing units. However, the zoning was never adopted. The city adopted inclusionary zoning after the adoption of the plan, which applies to projects filed after October 1st of 2024. Next slide, please. The proposed project was originally filed before the adoption of inclusionary zoning. Because of this, it is required to provide affordable housing units under the city's inclusionary development policy. The proposed project is also subject to the regulations of the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Zoning District's local industrial subdistrict. The project is consistent with the goals in Plan JP Rocks for transit-oriented residential development along Washington Street. I'll now pass it back to Camille, who will present the remainder of the presentation. Thank you.
Next slide, please. I will confirm I am not the urban designer on this project, but this is a very quick slide. Because this is a notice of project change, just want to very briefly show the before and after of the exterior of the building. So this is facing Washington Street. So on the left is the previously approved project, again in November of 2020. And on the right is the proposed updates to the project. We have been working in parallel with the proponent team on post-board design review throughout this process as well. So this is the evolution that you see here from 2020 to the the currently proposed building on the right-hand side. And next slide, please. This concludes our presentation. I have the members of the proponents team as well as their counsel here as well to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Just in looking at that design slide, can you just review kind of what was driving the change and such a change in the design specifically? They look different. Different feel, yeah.
Hi, Greg Spalding, Spalding Gaius Architects. Could you repeat the question?
Oh, so I was looking at can we just go back to the slide? Yeah, so we have the previous and the proposed. Again, just looks very different, less greenery. Just trying to get a sense
Well,
of.
actually, the site plan has stayed the same. Building footprint stayed the same. What's the biggest change is removing all the stepped balconies. It was a matter of just construction costs. This project has been around since 2020, being priced. And as it went through COVID, it kind of went to a lull, went to another developer who couldn't finance make the numbers work, and now we have a new developer. And in that spirit, to try and simplify the building, create more square footage, and just bring the cost down.
That's fine. All right, any further questions or comments?
Just a quick comment. I know that there was a big push to retain the original level of affordability that was proposed for the project, and I appreciate the work on all sides, Mayor's Office of Housing, community, developer, to push back as far as you could and get to a better result than the project was at, several months ago. So appreciate that.
Additional questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved?
So moved, sorry. Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Item number 21, request authorization to enter into an affordable rental housing agreement and restriction for the proposed creation of one on-site IDP unit located at 8 Burney Street and to take all related actions. Andy.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Director Shen, Secretary Polhemus, and members of the board. My name is Andy Feldman. I'm the Housing Policy Manager with the Mayor's Office of Housing. Tonight, I'm here to request your vote on an affordable rental housing agreement and restriction for the development at 8 Burney Street in Mission Hill. The development is building 9 units, and while it did not trigger IDP, the developer has agreed to restrict 1 unit. Therefore, the vote in front of you tonight will allow the agency to enter into an agreement for that 1 unit under the inclusionary development policy. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Andy. Item number 22, request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 103 residential rental units, including 8 IZ units, 3 car parking spaces, and 127 bicycle parking spaces located at 85 Parker Hill Avenue, and to enter into community benefits agreement. Jack.
Thank you, and good evening again, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polhemus, and Director Shen. My name is Jack Gilman, and I'm a project assistant with Development Review, and I'm here before you to present the small project located at 85 Parker Hill Avenue in the Mission Hill neighborhood. On February 13th, 2026, Savage Properties, LLC, filed a small project review application for a proposal that redevelops the 49,747 square foot site for use as multifamily housing and consists of a renovation and addition to the existing structure. The BPDA hosted a virtual public meeting on March 4th, 2026. The public meeting was noticed on the BPDA's events calendar and sent to the Mission Hill neighborhood distribution list. The comment period ended on April 24th, 2026. Following a project update, a second public meeting was held on June 29th, 2026. Next slide, please. There you go.
There we go.
So the proposed project looks to fully renovate the existing building and make additions to the existing courtyard for additional residential rental units, as well as a new vestibule and primary entrance on Parker Hill Avenue. The existing four-story building has a gross floor area of 67,829 square feet and contains 75 assisted living rooms and 13 guest rooms. The additions to the building are proposed to total 15,487 square feet of gross floor area, and in total, the renovation and addition will create 103 residential rental units. This unit mix will be composed of 41 studio units, 35 one-bedroom units, 19 two-bedroom units, and 8 three-bedroom units. The project will also add 4 off-street vehicular parking spaces, one of which will be a handicap-accessible vehicle space, to the existing 7 vehicular parking spaces for a total of 11. Additionally, the project will contain 103 interior bike parking spaces and 22 exterior bike parking spaces. This project has also committed $20,000 in community benefits to the Mission Hill Link Bus community-run shuttle. And with that, I would like to turn it over to my colleague Jason McDonald to present the planning context for the project.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Rojas, members of the board, Secretary Pohemus, and Director Shen. I'm Jason McDonald, the planner who reviewed this project. Looking at the context of this is in the New England Baptist Hospital institutional subdistrict, mouthful, but it covers up that entire area mainly as well due to the New England Baptist Hospital facility that is there that this was once formerly part of. Looking at the other context around the area is mostly about 3-story homes and a couple multifamily homes specifically going along Parker Hill Avenue. And then you can see immediately adjacent on that southwest end or planned southwest end, the back of the hill urban wild that is there. This, because of the immediate adjacency to this site, this will require review and approval from the Parks Commission, of course, after this approval. Then with this, they are only presently seeking zoning relief for the parking amount. They're currently at an amount that is underneath the required parking necessary. With this, and this is also specifically, they currently have will be planning to have a subdivision along the site, as you can see in the middle there, and the west or planned west end of the site that pulls the parking lot to a individual parcel, which would then make it an ancillary use to the parcel. And with this, going forward, if they do this subdivision, they will need a conditional use permit for the parking that is currently there as an ancillary use. And going back to as well, being that they are under the parking amount, seeking relief for the lower parking amount, they have been working with city staff and making sure to reach best practices from Boston Transportation Department. And yeah, so I'll pass off to my colleague Jack, presenting from the urban design team. John, sorry.
Good evening, I'm John Stewart Fishback, Senior Landscape Architect, providing site review for this project. ADA compliance is important to this hillside project site, which spans 40 feet of elevation change. The proponent has been receptive to supporting neighborhood accessibility improvements by committing to repair 2 sets of non-compliant curb ramps at the intersection of Parker Hill Avenue and Fisher Avenue. And the proponent has worked with planning to refine the building's ADA access to create a more legible and welcoming entry sequence. The proponent has also committed to working with planning and parks following board approval to resolve outstanding concerns about the project impacts upon the abutting urban wild open space and its protected city property trees. Next slide, please. The project utilizes an adaptive reuse strategy to bring much-needed housing to the Mission Hill neighborhood. The building's exterior will be preserved and remain largely unchanged along its Fisher and Parker Hill Avenue frontages. A modest addition will be constructed within the private courtyard. In response to community and MOH feedback, the proponent altered the unit mix to provide 8 family-sized units. The result was a decrease in the overall unit count from 111 to 103. The project's gross square footage has remained unchanged. Both indoor and outdoor tenant amenities at the entry level will help activate this area of Mission Hill. Thanks. I'll turn it back over to Jack.
Thank you, and that concludes the presentation. The proponent team is here and available to answer any questions the board may have related to the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before we go on to board questions, and we have a staff member from Councilor Santana's office, so I'd like to offer the floor to speak on his views.
Good afternoon, Chief Chen, Chairwoman, and members of the board. My name is Ana Calderon, and I'm Councilor Santana's Chief of Staff. Councilor Santana has submitted a letter of comment regarding this project, outlining concerns raised by Mission Hill residents, and I would like just to read a quick statement outlining some of those concerns. First, I want to be clear that Councilor Santana supports the creation of new housing in Boston and recognizes the urgent need to increase our housing supply. Residents have raised legitimate concerns about the review process for the proposed development, 85 Parker Hill Avenue. The project is moving forward through a small project review, despite being only 226 square feet below the threshold that will typically trigger a large project review process. Many residents believe that a development of this size and impact warrants a more comprehensive review process, including greater analysis of transportation, infrastructure, environment, and neighborhood impacts. Meaningful community engagement is critical, especially for projects that will have a lasting impact on the neighborhood. Residents have also expressed concerns regarding notification and opportunities for public participation during the early stages of the review process. This discussion is not about whether housing should be built. It's about ensuring that new housing is developed through a transparent process that provides robust community input and gives residents confidence that the project impacts have been fully evaluated. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So questions or comments from the board on this item?
I guess my question is, I know there was a lot of concern from the community about who would rent these units and not wanting to create student housing. So how does the owner, and maybe this is partially a question for BPDA, how does one legally, have a strategy around that?
So it's a good question. Usually it's done through marketing. So where this building is located, you would market it toward professionals from the medical area. We have, seniors that are downsizing, still want to stay in the neighborhood, and young families. So this developer actually has something like 68 units in Mission Hill currently. And he was the only developer in Mission Hill who had executed agreement back probably about 8 years ago with Mission Hill NHS, where they went to an audit and everything to make sure that the goal was to keep everything under 15% of student housing compared to normal market rate housing. And his portfolio now is, I think it's about 13.9%. So he is adhering to that request.
And so is there a discussion of executing a similar agreement here?
Yeah, it's kind of a good question, actually. So they won't do it if they won't support a project.
Say it again?
They won't do an agreement unless they're supporting the project. So the city doesn't want to get involved. The city doesn't want to get involved in these things legally. They don't want to get involved in, who can live there and who can't. However, the other project, we did 1558 Tremont Street, same thing. Went and said we would sign some sort of an agreement with you. We were told no, even though they had done it. And he was the only one who did it in a previous project.
Yeah.
Just because the director wasn't in support of the project. So, I mean, it is what it is. But we have, I had several conversations with Councilor Weber this morning. Put together a letter over there exactly explaining what your question was about the marketing and how, he commits to not seeking out and adhering to that lower threshold for a lower number of undergraduate college students. Because, this guy raised his kids in Mission Hill. So, he's very sensitive to what goes on up there. Obviously, you have Wentworth, you have Northeastern, you have a lot of universities that are right there. So he's very aware of it. And it's just not what he does.
Thank you.
Happy to jump in.
Sure.
John. So Devin Quirk, Deputy Chief here in the Planning Department, just happy to respond to that question as well. Just wanted to maybe, add a larger context, just say there's obviously been a lot of community engagement on this project. We've had 3 elected officials speak tonight, so a lot of attention on it. And I want to thank the project team, our staff, and of course all the community members who have been involved in discussing this. It is in generally a great project aligned with the zoning. I wanted to highlight that, and the fact that it's adaptive reuse of a historic property is exactly what we want to see. I want to highlight the fact that the used to be a nursing home, so the interior uses are obviously smaller unit sizes, so that's probably why you're seeing smaller unit sizes in the reuse. And I want to thank the community members that worked with the project team to work with the inclusionary zoning process to identify an opportunity to create larger bedroom sizes by knocking down some interior walls to meet the goal of having more larger bedroom sized affordable units. So that's all great. I think there's still some concerns about the number of students in Mission Hill. The developer sent us a letter, or sent Councilor Weber a letter saying that they'd be willing to restrict or actually add into our board memo a restriction on renting to students. We had a discussion with our legal team about that. And obviously, as you've heard from the development team and their attorney, they don't want to rent to students. That's not their preference. But we discussed how we might enforce that, and we realized there are 2 problems with it. One is a practical problem, just how would we go about doing that type of compliance? We don't want to enter into agreements that we don't have the mechanisms to enforce. So that was one of our concerns. The other is that there isn't actually a legal document into which for us to encode this agreement. So it sounds like there's a partnership between the community and the developer, where the developer is very willing to not rent to students, which we obviously support, but you don't see it in the board memo because we didn't have really a legal pathway practically to execute it. That all being said, the number of students in Boston isn't changing whether or not we approve this project, and the work that we're doing on student housing compliance is largely focused with our universities and encouraging them to have more student-specific housing on campus or off campus that is rented directly to students with appropriate oversight. And our hope is developments like this are largely serving Boston's workforce. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Devin.
Thank you. Additional questions or comments? I've heard a couple times concerns on the review process. Can you, it's probably more of an agency comment than, can you just tell me what that's all about?
Sure. Thank you, Chair Rojas. Ted Schwartzberg, Assistant Deputy Director for Planning Review. Well, there are a few things happening. So when this first came in, we wanted to know, is it a change in use? And so my colleagues from Development Review and I went and got the records of the last occupancy that was on record with the building department. And it was listed as 75 dwelling units of assisted living. And then we compared that against our zoning code use tables and what's being proposed. And in our zoning, we don't use that language, dwelling units or assisted living. We would probably say multifamily residential. So my colleagues from Development Review and I interpreted the last occupancy of 75 dwelling units was synonymous with multifamily residential, which is the more technical term that we would like to see. So that puts us at the threshold of 50,000 square feet for large project review. And the other piece is that even though there's not a change in use from multifamily to another kind of multifamily, ultimately this number about 50,000 square feet for our Article 80B projects. That is a number that is a round number and was picked when Article 80 was written 30-odd years ago. And, at the margins of 45,000 or 55,000, that's something that the modernization process looked at and decided to keep that 50,000 square foot threshold. But ultimately, for this one, it came down to us interpreting it just not being a change in use. It's just all multifamily residential.
Got it. No, thank you for that clarification. Okay, any additional questions or comments?
Excuse me, we have a representative from Councilor Murphy's.
Okay.
line.
Representative from Councilor Murphy, the floor is yours.
Hello all, my name is Andrew Galvin. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board for having me. I work in Councilor Murphy's office. I just wanted to come on the record in Councilor Murphy would like to go on the record in opposition of this project due to concerns raised by the community regarding student housing and traffic. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you. Okay, additional questions or comments from the board? Hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, item number 23. Request authorization to issue a certification of approval pursuant to Article 80E Small Project Review of the Zoning Code for the proposed construction of 16 residential homeownership units, including 2 IZ units, 7 car parking spaces, and 20 bicycle parking spaces located at 4301 Washington Street, and to enter into a community benefits agreement and to take all related actions. Tyler.
Good evening, and thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polimis, and Director Shen. My name is Tyler Ross. I'm a Senior Project Manager in the Development Review Division. The proposal before you is 4301 Washington Street, an Article 80 small project located in the Rosendale neighborhood. On March 10, 2026, the developer filed a small project review application for the project. The Planning Department hosted one single public meeting on March 30th, 2026, which was well attended. Next slide. The proposal consists of the construction of a 4-story, 16-unit homeownership building with 7 off-street vehicle parking spaces. The project will provide 2 inclusionary zoning units of various sizes between 80% and 100% AMI, along with 20 parking spaces for the project. I will now turn it over to my colleague Jane to continue the presentation.
Good evening. My name is Jane, and I'm the zoning reviewer for this project. 4301 Washington Street is just off the heart of Rosendale Square, and it's a really great location for many reasons. One being that it's on a mixed-use street with 1-story commercial and service uses, as well as 3-story residential buildings, which really characterize the neighborhood. It's also really close to a lot of open space. As we can see, we're within a 15-minute walk of Adams Park, but also Healy Field, as well as Fallon Field Playground. And not lastly, it's in a really transit-rich location. So it's a quick walk to the Rosendale Village MBTA commuter rail stop, and there are several blue bike stations around the location, as well as 0.1 mile proximity to 9 different MBTA bus lines. Next slide, please. 4301 Washington Street is located in the S1 Main Street Living District, and it is the 3rd Article 80 project to be filed under Rosendale Squares and Street Zoning, which passed last June. And as a result, it's consistent with all use and dimensional regulations under Article 26, which made my job really easy. This job is net zero carbon compliant and will meet BPDA carbon emission limit of 0 on day 1 of operations, and additionally prioritizes passive house strategies and embeds green infrastructure on site. I'll now turn it over to my colleague, Brendan.
Thank you, Jane. My name is Brendan Willis, Senior Architect in Urban Design, and I'll be speaking to the design review process. The proponent was working with an existing sewer easement that runs through the center of the site. You can see it called out on the landscape plan there. This required the building to be divided into 2 connected volumes, which had an additional benefit of dividing the Washington Street frontage into 2 smaller scale frontages. Throughout the design review process, staff worked with the proponent on this Washington Street frontage, pedestrian circulation, parking, landscape design, and the articulation of the building entry. The revised site plan introduced a rear yard resident amenity space and new tree plantings, Frontage improvements included plantings, a new street tree, bicycle parking, seating, and permeable paving. Next slide, please. Dividing the building into 2 volumes did require the main building entrance to be set back from Washington Street. We worked with the proponent on material changes, signage, planting, and wayfinding to provide a distinct arrival experience. These revisions help strengthen the pedestrian sequence from the sidewalk to the entrance while maintaining the expression of the 2 building volumes. And I will now turn it back to Tyler. Thank you.
Right. In conclusion, this project will provide 16 home ownership opportunities in Rosendale, along with just over a $15,000 contribution to the Blue Bike Network, enlarged sidewalks, new street trees, and bike parking. This concludes our presentation for this item, and the development team is available to answer any questions you have.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know Director Shen has been waiting with bated breath to hear which project will be my favorite of this meeting, and I think this is it. As someone who grew up not too far from here, who was very proud to have passed alongside my colleagues the Squares and Streets dedication. This will be the 3rd project. This is great. I'm curious about the sustainability. The first bullet point, project will source renewable energy through BPDA compliance. Is that community choice aggregation? Putting you on the spot there, aren't I?
Yeah, I believe, I'm not sure what the, I guess the vehicle that there will be, but I do know that they will be looking into procuring.
Yeah, and it'll be net, it's net, it's under the, falls under the net zero zoning, correct? So it'll be.
Correct, yes.
It'll be BPDA 2050, limits on day 1. So that's even more exciting how they get that. So I'd assume there'll be a number of mechanisms, but that's great. Talk a little bit about the green infrastructure. I think, Jen, you had mentioned, but I wasn't quite sure. I'm stumping you guys today, huh?
Yeah, it's the new street tree. It's the addition of permeable paving and additional plantings on the site to comply with permeable area.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Additional questions or comments? All right, hearing and seeing none, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, let's go to item number 24. Request authorization to issue a scoping determination waiving further review pursuant to Article 80B-5.4D, large project review of the zoning code for the proposed construction of 165 residential rental units, including 28 IZ units and 5 voucher units, 33 car parking spaces and 201 bicycle parking spaces located at 3841 Washington Street, and to issue 1 or more certifications of compliance or partial certifications of compliance pursuant to Section 80B-6 of the code upon successful completion of the Article 80B large project review process, and to enter into a cooperation agreement and transportation access plan agreement, and to take all related actions. Lucia.
Hi. Thank you and good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, Secretary Polimis, and Director Shen. My name is Lucia Peñabanda, and I am a project assistant in the Development Review Division here at the Planning Department. I am here before you to present the large project located at 3841 Washington Street in Rosendale. 3841 Washington Street, located in Rosendale, is a proposed 7-story mixed-use residential building with 165 rental units. The project will redevelop an approximately 36,000 square foot site currently occupied by a small mixed-use building and surface parking, which is also currently owned by this proponent and developer. And it will be transformed into a transit-oriented development featuring, again, 165 residential units, approximately 5,652 square feet of ground floor commercial space, 33 at-grade parking spaces, and 201 bicycle parking spaces for residents and visitors. Next slide, please. Thank you. The project is designed as an all-electric building that will comply with Boston's net zero carbon zoning requirements and is targeting LEED Gold certification while enhancing the public realm through widened sidewalks, landscape open spaces, ADA-compliant pedestrian improvements, the relocation of MBTA bus stop number 596, new street trees, and a $49,000 contribution to our Blue Bike system. The proposed project will also provide 33 income-restricted units, including 5 voucher units, create an estimated 128 construction jobs, and support continued investment in this transit-accessible corridor. The proponent filed its project notification form on December 10th, 2025, initiating the Article 80B review process. Staff held an impact advisory group meeting on January 6th, 2026, and a public meeting on January 13th, 2026. Following staff's review, issuance of our feedback, and the proponent's response, a final joint impact advisory group and public meeting was held on June 23rd, 2026. I will now pass it to my colleague Andrew Plum for the planning and zoning context.
Thank you, Lucia. Hi again. I'm Andrew Plum. I'm the planner assigned to this project. The proposed project is located on Washington Street near the border between Rosendale and Jamaica Plain. Washington Street is a major transportation corridor between the two neighborhoods and is served by 9 MBTA bus routes. As Lucia mentioned, the proposed project will relocate an existing bus stop on Washington Street opposite Tollgate Way to the south end of the property, which will improve access for residents in and surrounding the site. The proposed project is approximately 1/4 mile from the MBTA Forest Hill Station, a major hub with Orange Line commuter rail and bus service. The area surrounding the proposed project is flanked by rail lines, which separate it from the Forest Hills neighborhood in Jamaica Plain to the east and the Arnold Arboretum to the west. The area surrounding the proposed project is a mix of light industrial facilities, mixed-use buildings, multi-story residential buildings, and multi-story commercial buildings. Legacy light industrial uses in the area are generally located in single-story structures with large paved areas around them. The area is dominated by paved areas and a lack of mature trees, which contribute to an urban heat island effect. Next slide, please. Well, the proposed project is in Rosendale. It's regulated by the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Zoning District's local industrial subdistrict, which is governed by Article 55 in the zoning code. The project site abuts a neighborhood shopping subdistrict to the north and east where upper story multifamily residential uses are allowed. The area's proximity to the Forest Hills Station provides transportation capacity for large-scale multifamily residential and mixed uses. Current zoning no longer reflects contemporary adjacent land uses and building dimensions. Staff recommends zoning relief per Section 7-3 of the zoning code. I'll now pass it to the proponent team for their portion of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Zach Cutchin. I'm a project architect with Rhodey Architects. And before I get into the building design, I just want to talk a little bit about the process quickly. We had a lot of different stakeholders that met with us and donated their time and were really involved in the process. And it was just a really amazing process, kind of bringing this project through over the past year, from the BPDA, the IAG, the community members, the Arboretum, everybody involved. So yeah, first of all, thank you. Getting into the building design. So this here is an aerial image. The project's located at 3841 Washington Street. The project site on this image is the red hatch, kind of in the middle of the screen. To the left is the Arboretum, and to the right, that green space is the Forest Hills Cemetery. We're about a 5-minute walk from the Forest Hills T Station, so it's really a transit-oriented site and development. Next slide, please. There's a couple aerial images of the site showing the existing condition now. So the site as it stands today is mostly all surface parking with a small 2-story building on the site. On the top image to the right there, you can see the MBTA tracks just on the other side of our site, and the Arnold Arboretum on the other side of that. Next slide, please. Here's another aerial image showing all of the parking on the site and Washington Street running left to right on your screen. And the MBTA tracks plan north, and then the Arboretum on the other side of that. Next slide, please. And a few additional street views of the existing site, the 2-story building, and all of the existing surface parking. Next slide, please. Before we get into the building design, I just want to take you through our process a little bit. We call this a build-up diagram. It just helps illustrate our process and how we kind of came to the final building design. So the slide at the top left was if you were to just take a blank site. And then the next, if you go in the middle on the right there, the next step in that process, we call extrude. So you take the extent of the site and you extrude it up to 7 stories or 80 feet for our building height. After that, we begin to subtract from the mass to create a double-loaded corridor building of 65 feet. And that creates this really nice kind of central courtyard space in the building. And then the next step would be to carve away on that southern mass of the building. There's more development towards the Forest Hills T Station and less on the southern side, so we carve away there, and that allows more light and air for those units kind of in that central courtyard space. And then the last step is connect. So we're adjacent to the Arboretum, so the units with views of the Arboretum on the outside, north and west of the building have this amazing view towards the Arboretum. So what we've done is we've incorporated green space onto the setbacks of the building to give other units kind of a similar kind of experience. Next slide, please. This is site section starting at Hyde Park Ave on the right and all the way down to the Arboretum on your far left through our building. So the idea is we're trying to illustrate that there's a significant amount of grade change in this area of the site, about 20 or 30 feet. So some of the new development on Hyde Park Ave, 5 and 6 stories. Once you're on Washington Street, where our building is, it actually reads as kind of a similar kind of height and mass at 7 stories. This also shows the MBTA tracks to the left of our building, and then the Arboretum is about 165 feet from the building. Next slide, please. This is the ground floor and site plan. A couple things I would like to illustrate here is that the building has this U shape, which creates a really nice public park space, kind of centrally located along Washington Street. The idea of this space, it could be used by both building residents and the public. There's benches with built-in seating, loose seating for the future retail spaces there. We also worked hard to get an 8-foot sidewalk along Washington Street and a 4-foot planting zone. And then we've located all of the kind of active program of the building, like the retail space of 5,500 square feet and the lobby towards Washington Street, and then pushed all the inactive program to the back of the site, like parking, mechanical space, things like that. There is 165 units in the building on floors 2 through 7, with some amenity space there as well, and then 5,500 square feet of retail space. Next slide, please. Some elevations of the building showing the materiality and the direction we're going in. So looking at some sort of a masonry cladding on the majority of the building, and then a metal panel rain screen above that. So kind of the heavier, denser material at the base of the building, and then that lighter material where we have the setbacks above. Next slide, please. Again, kind of illustrating a similar thing here. Next slide, please. So here are some views, a series of views. This one is looking up Washington Street. So now you can see the large setbacks on the southern mass of the building, and then kind of the northern mass on the other side is where the masonry volume, and that's the full 7-story volume. Next slide, please. This is the view looking down Washington Street. So this is the larger mass, kind of closer to the Forest Hills T Station, and then the more broken down masses in the back with the larger setbacks on the southern half of the site. Next slide, please. This is a view looking across Washington Street. So on the kind of bottom left, you can see some of the retail space with the large storefront windows, and then that large kind of central park space in the middle with new street trees all along Washington Street, and then our lobby space after that, and then the garage access there through an existing curb cut. Next slide, please. So working with the MBTA and BPDA, we heard feedback, and the community, we heard feedback that the bus stop kind of planned south of our site really wasn't adequate for the amount of use it was getting. And it'd be great if we could actually incorporate a bus stop and a bus shelter on our site. So we looked at a few different ways to do that. And what we ended up doing was incorporating a canopy and a bus stop, kind of, you can see it in that gray hatch on the left side there, into the actual design of the building, and then allocated space for buses to stop along Washington Street. Some of the other community benefits here are the 8-foot sidewalk, 4-foot planting zone, and then the improved ADA accessible curb cuts on both sides of Washington Street, as well as the repainted crosswalk. Next slide, please. And here are some images of that proposed bus stop. So you can see the canopy is integrated into the design of the building instead of just being a freestanding shelter with space for a bench and then also ADA compliance as well. Next to that, still covered with the same experience. And that's everything. So thank you. Look forward to your questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments from the board?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like this project a lot. Was this the, I know the area, obviously, was this the shell printing building? No. What's the existing building or the?
It is Wellesmere Monument Business, and fun fact, there's actually two monument businesses
Yes.
on Washington Street. This
Yeah.
is Wellesmere. Mr. Joe Vazella is here today as well, the owner of the monument business and this property and proponent.
Yes.
for this
No,
project.
excellent. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think your former neighbor shell printing may have already been developed a couple years ago. Really, really interesting. I love the canopy being the bus stop canopy being part of the building. I don't know that I've seen that before, so I think it's it's attractive and it's
This
obviously
was
serves
a
purpose.
great collaboration and partnership with our, I guess, colleagues or partners at the MBTA, Joe Blankenship and Evelyn Goodwin. We worked for months on finalizing this design. As Zach mentioned, a full bus shelter with the dimensions and guidelines for their implementation would have precluded a lot of the other plans that we had for the building's frontage. So this was the best and most graceful solution, in my opinion, for incorporating and relocating this bus stop.
Yeah.
And this was a result of this project being under the MBTA's zone of influence.
Great, perfect. Thank you for that. A couple other brief questions. So, any solar on the roof?
I will let Zach speak to that.
Okay.
Sure. So the roof will be
Solar ready?
solar ready, as you've heard tonight. We'd love to put solar panels up there. It's just kind of a matter of.
Here's my plug. I'm nothing if not consistent. It could go from being net zero to net positive, and I assure you, having represented that area for 11 years, there is a market of residents who would love to live in a net positive building. So that's exciting. And then so I think this is a very good project. My last question is probably for staff, and perhaps it's worthy of a larger conversation another time. I've seen blue bike contributions on projects tonight alone ranging from about $3,000 to, I think this is the highest at $50,000. Do we have a process, or do we have sort of an equation that goes into that? I'm not suggesting that we do, because I want the city to be able to negotiate these things, but it does seem to be all over the place. The $3,000 donation, I don't think was a smaller project, much smaller than this. So I'm curious if, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there is, well, I'll happily put Devin or Ted on the spot on this one.
Fair.
Do we have an equation for blue bikes? Should we?
I don't know it, though. Do you know that? Okay, I can answer the question.
I don't have the equation off the top of my head, but this contribution is in lieu of citing for a blue bike station. Again, because it would have taken up too much of the program. There was
No, I totally get that, and I
space.
think that's usually the case, and so,
Got it.
yeah, thank you.
You're up, so
Yeah,
come on.
sorry. There is absolutely an equation for this. We don't have it at the top of our heads. I've seen it before, and I'm happy to get it to you, Member
It's in
O'Malley.
the Penske file, Devin?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you. Thank you all.
I guess I just have one question / comment. I like this project a lot. It's a great location for housing, support the project. More for BPDA. I'm aware every meeting that we approve a lot of small units. And I don't have a sense of how studios and one beds. I don't have a sense of how that stacks up against the needs of our city. And so as a board member, it would be helpful, whether it's offline at one of our briefings, to sort of, I don't want to ever hold one project hostage over that issue, but just it's easy to see every meeting that the numbers really favor studios and one beds, and I worry a little bit about that. So
Yeah,
just a
that's
comment.
Great question, Member Bennett, and I appreciate you making sure I get in and out of my seat, get my steps in tonight. We've been working really closely with our colleagues at Mayor's Office of Housing on the mayor's housing policy and particularly looking forward to her second term and the, balancing the interests of the needs for workforce housing and lots of Boston's workforce and including students or smaller households that would fit into smaller unit sizes. But we also are deeply committed to making Boston one of America's, if not America's, most family-friendly city. That's a core tenet of the mayor. So to the extent that you're looking for some data to support that anecdote, we're happy to provide that. Don't have that off the top of my head tonight, but that's something we can incorporate into our more of our follow-ups with you. And we do track this on a regular basis. So it's something we can give you.
Thank you.
So my curiosity is more on the bus stop. I do like the, how it's included with the building. Can you comment to any of the signage? I know we haven't, it's not typically included. I'm just sure my concern. I want to make sure people know that they can sit there. Do you know what I
Totally.
mean?
And this is actually one of the questions that came up in our last joint IAG and public meeting, like how will people know that this is public? And I think the program of the ground floor, having retail amenities, and the plaza will be hopefully very inviting for community members and giving the message like, yes, you can sit here and you can use this bus stop and you can shelter here from the rain or inclement weather. So that is the goal, that is the mission. We will continue to follow up with our partners at BTD to make sure that the appropriate signage is in place and planned for, but absolutely open to the public and welcoming.
Yeah,
hopefully.
No, that's really, thank you for addressing that. I'm sure there'll be signage, but also just observation afterwards, since this isn't something that we always, actively see or do, just to make sure that in reality, like, people are feeling that when it's actually all built up and in use. I know that's in the future, but just something to keep in mind and that we would, again, just
encourage and appreciate.
It's important to me. Like, I just want people to know that that's.
And I think we all hear you. And like I said, this proponent is local. He's been in the community for many, many years. And I think that is the plan long term.
Awesome. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, a motion is in order.
So moved.
Second?
All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good job. Okay, that was the last project. So item number 25, I need a motion to pay our bills.
I move that we pay our bills.
I second that motion.
All right, let's see how it goes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, no, a motion is in order. Trying to.
So moved.
So moved. I skipped it. No, a motion is in order. Did I do that?
I second that
Oh my
motion.
gosh.
Did
you second it?
I did second
Sorry.
it. That's
This
all
is
right.
a.
We didn't take our break. We're all a little.
I know. No, so a motion is in order. You seconded, you approve it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. Please pay the bills. I don't know why they got so, yeah. Item number 26, Director Shen, it's time for you to take over.
Members of the board, I want to start my report this month by just summarizing the work and projects that we approved tonight. There were 7 new development projects that will deliver 530,000 square foot of new development when built. Most of it was residential, 501 new residential units, of which 82 will be income restricted. The investment when these projects are built will amount to about $150 million of new investment. And during construction, the project will generate about 475 jobs in the trades, and then when completed, house 46 direct jobs and 252 indirect jobs in the various commercial components. I also want to highlight one certificate of completion that the board approved and voted on, and that's the Belvedere Street student housing project, which is in the Back Bay and was the conversion of one of the Sheraton hotel towers into student housing. It was a long process, and we're finally able to actually issue the certificate of completion. The project will deliver new open space at the plaza around Belvedere Street, adding new plantings, furniture, and a canopy to improve the heat island effect there. And The proponent will actually contribute $256,000 to the Boston Transportation Department to support planning for future off-site safety and accessibility improvements on Belvedere Street and Dalton Street, and also make a $117,000 contribution to bike share to support the Blue Bikes program. Today was the official last day of Sail Boston. And the BPDA and our staff were integral in ensuring a successful 250th birthday celebration with Sail Boston. The properties of the BPDA, both at the Raymond L. Flynn Marine Park and the Charlestown Navy Yard, were once again provided berthing locations for some of the tall ships, just as in years past. Just so that you know that 10 of the 25 Class A ships were docked on these properties and provided the public an opportunity to tour and enjoy these ships in the last few days. Also, of course, the BPDA's property on Long Wharf and Sergeant's Wharf also provided many of the viewing locations, public viewing locations. This was a Herculean effort, and I want to make sure to thank the staff, especially the real estate staff that in the Marine Park, in making this event possible. And there were also many volunteers from the planning staff here on the 9th floor that helped to make this historic event possible. I'm sad to actually share this news about the retirement of Tae-Ming Chen. He has been a longtime member of the BRA and BPDA. He actually joined the BRA back in 1998 and served for 28 years on the 9th floor. And he's made invaluable contributions to many of the spatial plans and planning initiatives in the years that he's been part of the agency and department. Tae-Ming's technical expertise and unwavering commitment to good urban design will have a lasting impact on our neighborhoods. Tae-Ming had many achievements. I would say that Tae-Ming was one of the department's early adopters and implementers and proponent and advocate for digital design tools and software. In fact, Tae-Ming created the city's first comprehensive 3D digital model before Google. It's hard to imagine, but actually, I remember when Google was starting to actually do the Google Earth, and they actually visited with Tae-Ming to get some information on how we did it. This is a transformative tool that actually changed how our staff, planners, designers, other city officials, as well as designers within the city could visualize development and make informed decisions. He's a dedicated public servant and one of what I would always consider a kind of secret weapon that we had here on the 9th floor. Of course, we will miss him, but we wish him well in his retirement. I want to end by acknowledging that our department and City Hall actually lost a great colleague last week, one of our streets colleague, Louisa Gagg. In fact, there is a vigil that is probably ongoing outside City Hall Plaza right now. Louisa was a transportation planner who led the Blue Bikes program of the city. She worked closely with many of our staff almost daily, and of course interacted with many of the development teams that actually had projects that we reviewed. I know all of us will remember her as a great person and an exceptionally passionate colleague. She was certainly a generous friend and collaborator to the department. This loss, I think, has hit many of our staff really close, and it was very personal for them, and we all mourn her loss. And I just want to make sure that to make a to share with the public that our thoughts are with Louisa and her family. So I end my report there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Director Chen. And on behalf of the board, to our condolences to Louisa and her family, friends, and colleagues. And thanks. Louisa made great contributions to the city, and she will be remembered as, just a really great person that helped move the city and transportation and our Blue Bikes initiatives forward. So with appreciation and thanks. And also thank you to Mr. Chan and helping out Google back then, but also in again, pioneering. I think it's just a testament to our staff on just the amazing work that they do and constant innovation that has always been a fabric of the agency. So with that, I need a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.